96.9 FM. Fresh news, smart talk, all day.
The views and opinions of the hosts and guests are their own and do not necessarily reflect the position of the management and staff of Guardian Network.
Good morning. Grocers present a proposal to the government. The merchants prepare to up the value of social services vouchers and also suggest government eliminate VAT on breadbasket items. OPM Press Secretary Watson calling the F&M to say which law the government broke in funding the Bermuda trip. And the Spanish Wells Commonage calling for a ban on further building. It's all straight ahead this morning. I'm Dwight Strachan, and this is Morning Blend.
Wake up, it's a new day. Wake up, it's a new day. It's the start of a new way. You know that it's here. It's the start of the end of the old way. Wake up, it's a new day. 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 Wake up, wake up.
Good morning again, Bahamas. It is Friday, October 28th, 2022. This is Morning Blend on Guardian Radio 96.9. Again, I'm Dwight Strachan. In a moment, Stephen Hanna will be joining us. Also this morning, we've got a special segment. We are calling it It Takes a Village. We are talking about the layers of support that complement medical intervention in the successful treatment of breast cancer as we wind down Breast Cancer Awareness Month in October. And October is also Cyber Security Awareness Month, and we wrap up our special Safe and Sound expanded series. Today we're looking at cryptocurrency use in ransomware. That's coming up in Morning Blend Business. But first, it's time for the overnight, the latest breaking news from while we're sleeping, and the top national and international headlines this morning. In the overnight, the Retail Grocers Association asking the government to consider further alleviating the burden on the most vulnerable in the Bahamas by eliminating the 10% value-added tax on breadbasket items. That recommendation is included in a proposal the association sent to the Prime Minister on Wednesday as grocers continue their objection to the announced margin changes on 38 categories of items first announced by the Prime Minister in his national address on October 11th. Association President Philip Beneby advising the Prime Minister that the group has conducted an exhaustive and extensive canvassing of more than 130 national members and concluded that the proposal would grant relief to the most vulnerable and not result in the demise of the retail grocery business. He said, quote, "It is our primary position that we enter a temporary public-private partnership with government through the implementation of a food assistance program for the most vulnerable among our Bahamian brothers and sisters in partnership with the Ministry of Social Services. It is our offer that the Retail Grocers Association will partner with the Ministry of Social Services toward the addition of a 10% value on all food stamps or vouchers issued by the ministry. The association says it agrees among members that the partnership will last for 4 to 6 months and that it would be honored nationwide. The association also outlined margin changes it could live with, failing agreement on the proposal to partner with social services. It provided a list of 20 items which have been largely taken from the categories and said that the list has been compiled with not only the most vulnerable consumers in mind, but also the most vulnerable among members in mind. Meanwhile, consumer prices climbed modestly in August compared to July at 0.1%. That's the latest government data. According to the latest government data, which represents the slightest month-to-month increase since February of this year. Nevertheless, that slight uptick still translates to a 6.3% increase year-on-year, the second largest such year-on-year increase recorded in 2022, which continues to see record inflation as there appears to be no end in sight for the war in Ukraine and other inflationary pressures. Consumer prices climbed 1.5% from June to July, which was a 7% increase from year to year, according to the latest consumer price index released by the Bahamas National Statistical Institute yesterday. Amid growing concerns about the expansion of shantytowns, the Spanish Wells Commonage Committee has implemented a one-year ban on building in the Blackwood area of mainland Eleuthera. The ban went into effect on October 25th. In a letter, Ivanhoe Sweeting, the committee's chairman, saying the ban is on any and all building, including additions to existing structures or making connection to BPL for power supply in the community which is within the Spanish Wells Commonage land. He wrote that they will not grant any permission in light of the recent drastic increase of illegal building by persons disregarding the laws of the land. He said, quote, "These persons with no entitled right to the land are trespassing on the Spanish Wells Commonage and refuse to seek lawful permission for their actions. We have in the past voiced such, but our words have thus far been ignored and disregarded." Police reporting a major drug bust aboard an inbound vessel at the Arawak Key container port. It happened yesterday. Police say an effort which involved officers from the Bahamas Customs resulted in over 142 pounds of suspected cocaine being confiscated shortly before 5 a.m. Officers conducted a routine search of a freighter and discovered 53 packages of suspected cocaine with an estimated street value of $1.6 million. No arrests were made. And Office of the Prime Minister Press Secretary Clint Watson calling on those who have accused the government of breaking the law in funding a political trip and having the PLP reimburse the public treasury. He's saying they need to show which law was broken. He was speaking at the OPM press conference yesterday saying, quote, "I've heard people as if it is against the law, and we're asking, what is the law?" While speaking in the House of Assembly on Wednesday, F&M leader Michael Pintard accused the government of breaking the law and funding a trip to Bermuda where the Prime Minister and a delegation, which included government and PLP representatives, attended the Progressive Labor Party of Bermuda, which has strong ties to the PLP here in the Bahamas. Overseas, when Hurricane Ian tore through western Cuba in late September, causing an island-wide blackout, it left the government grappling with a deepening energy crisis and simmering discontent among Cubans. It also once again thrust the Caribbean island into the middle of an escalating tug-of-war between its seaside neighbor, the United States, and ally, Russia, at a time when Cuba is urging the Biden administration to ease U.S. sanctions that it says stifle hurricane recovery efforts. Russia oil has flooded into the island, providing relief to debilitating blackouts. Russia has shipped an estimated $352 million in oil to Cuba since the start of the Ukraine war, the biggest inflow from Russia this century, and enough to cover about 40% of the shortfall in the island's supplies, according to independent estimates. The sales also potentially alleviate the weight of international sanctions on Russia from its invasion of Ukraine. Cuba has depended on foreign oil as its primary energy source for decades. Until the fall of the Soviet Union in 1991, the Soviets sold Cuba oil well below market price. Later, Cuba hatched a similar deal with socialist ally Venezuela at the height of its oil boom, sending Cuban medics in exchange for discounted petroleum. In sports from NFL Thursday night action, the Baltimore Ravens finally have a winning streak, while Tom Brady and the Bucs are struggling. Lamar Jackson for 238 yards and a pair of second-half touchdowns, and the Ravens rallied Thursday night for a 27-22 win over Brady and the Bucs, giving Baltimore consecutive victories for the first time this season. Brady, on the other hand, finds himself riding a 3-game skid for the first time since 2002, the 7-time Super Bowl champion's first year as a full-time starter for the New England Patriots. Jackson completed all 8 of his passes after halftime, and the Ravens, now at 5-3, finished with 231 yards after only running the ball 7 times in the first 2 quarters. The Bucs, meanwhile, are 3-5 and lost for the 5th time in 6 games following a 2-0 start. And the World Series opens tonight. Justin Verlander answering questions about his start for the Houston Astros in tonight's World Series opener when the head of the opposition's baseball staff took the unorthodox step of walking into the interview room to extend a hand. Verlander has a nose for success, not just the 39-year-old right-hander likely is headed to his 3rd Cy Young Award in his first season back from undergoing surgery. Houston swept Seattle and the Yankees in the playoffs and could join the 1976 Cincinnati Reds as the only teams to go through the postseason unbeaten since the division era started in 1969. Meanwhile, the Philadelphia Phillies, whom they will face tonight, are the first third-place team to reach a series, and a franchise that has brought just 2 titles to Philadelphia compared to 5 won by the Athletics before leaving town in 1954. That's sports, and that's the overnight. Time for your first look at weather. In your weather for today, we've got a building high-pressure system just north of the area that will continue to support mostly stable conditions and gentle to moderate winds across the islands today. Beachgoers should be alert for possible rip currents along north and east coast beaches. For all areas today, forecast calls for partly to mostly sunny, warm, and breezy conditions with a chance of a few spotty showers, turning mostly fair and mild with the chance of a few stray showers tonight. For boaters, a small craft caution comes into effect by this evening in the northwest and central Bahamas. Winds northeast to east at 15 knots today, increasing to 15 to 20 knots by this evening in the northwest and central islands, and northeast to east at 10 to 15 knots in the southeast Bahamas. Seas 3 to 5 feet today, but building up to 4 to 6 feet by this evening in the northwest and central islands, and 2 to 4 feet in the southeastern Bahamas. Seas slightly higher across all areas in northeasterly swells. Temperature-wise, it's about 76 degrees right now in Nassau. Look for highs getting up to around 86 Fahrenheit, 30 Celsius. Overnight lows tonight getting down to about 70 Fahrenheit, 21 Celsius. That's your first look at weather this morning. We'll have your extended outlook and a look at the tropics coming up after traffic in just a bit.
Wake up, it's a new day. Wake up, it's a new day.
It is time for a break, but when we come back, we are discussing the day's top stories right here on Morning Blend on Guardian Radio 96.9. Your home for fresh news and smart talk all day.
Wake up, it's a new day. Wake up, it's a new day.
Tired of banks forcing you to use technology to bank the way they want you to? Your convenience is important. So no matter what your banking needs, Commonwealth Bank's friendly staff are always available in branch for that personal one-on-one service. But when you choose technology, our online and mobile banking app offers you state-of-the-art functionality. The choice is yours. Commonwealth Bank. Bank the way you want.
I just link up with this beautiful young lady, and she say she in love with me. She say even my internet making sense. When she come over, she say my signal strong, my movies ain't glitching, and when she use her computer, everything was smooth. The only problem is, I let her meet me by my boy house that day, and he got that BTC fiber internet speed bump.
Current fiber internet bundle customers now have as much as 3 times the speed. Totally free. Link up with BTC. Link up.
Hey Lisa, I hear Fidelity's free Women Plus seminar is back.
Oh yes it is. My ladies and I are ready to go.
Well, I heard it's open for men too, so you know my crew and I will be there.
The highly anticipated free Fidelity Women Plus seminar will be held on Saturday, October 29th at the Bahamas Convention Center as we explore solutions towards achieving financial freedom.
The Women's Plus seminar is free and includes breakfast, 8 sessions, plus over $8,000 in prizes and surprises. Registration and breakfast begin at 8 a.m. with sessions from 9:30 a.m. to 2 p.m.
Space is limited, so register now for free at fbbwomanplus.com.
Technology serves to make our lives better, so why not your business too? At Custom Computers, we've been maintaining our knowledge and relationships with top tech companies since 1987 and carry only the most trusted brands like Apple, Microsoft, HP, and more. No company has helped more businesses build reliable IT systems than Custom Computers. You name it, we've done it. Call 396-1101 to talk to any of our business experts. Find trust in your tech. Count on Custom Computers.
Fidelity's free Women Plus seminar is back. Join us on Saturday, October 29th at the Bahamas Convention Center, where leading professionals will give you the hard facts on topics like
How to be rich 101, how your mental and emotional health impacts financial health, and what I wish women knew about men,
and how to get their money. This free, life-changing event is for women and men. The seminar includes breakfast, 8 sessions, plus over $8,000 in prizes and surprises. Registration and breakfast begins at 8 a.m., with sessions from 9:30 a.m. to 2 p.m.
Space is limited, so register now for free at fbbwomanplus.com.
Screws and Fasteners World, Balfour Avenue and Palm Beach Street, has those hard-to-find fasteners for you right now. You can find stainless steel regular hex, carriage bolts, galvanized bolts, threaded rods, nails, self-tap screws, sex bolts, anchor bolts, turnbuckles, masonry tools, hand tools, and weed whacker strings. Check out the rope selection and carved body fasteners, too. Special orders are welcome. It's your #1 fastener store. Screws and Fasteners World, Balfour Avenue and Palm Beach Streets. Call 326-1976.
This is Guardian Radio 96.9 FM, Nassau, Bahamas.
Wake up, it's a new day. Wake up, it's a new day. It's the start of a new way. You know that it's the start of the end of the old way. Wake up, it's a new day. Wake up, it's a new day. Wake up,
Welcome back to Morning Blend here on Guardian Radio 96.9. We are streaming live on GuardianTalkRadio.com and on the Guardian Radio app for smart devices. We're also on your televisions on Cable Bahamas Channel 969 and BTC Float Channel 612. You can tweet us at MorningBlend969 or Facebook.com/MorningBlend969. Text us 422-4796. Standard text rate supply. Once again, I am Dwight Strachan. Joining me now, Stephen Hanna. Stephen Hanna, good morning. Oh, there we go. All right, do that one more time.
Wait, well, that's good.
Yeah, there we go. Good morning, sir. Great to have you with us on this final.
Oh God! You're being dramatic everybody.
It's
the last Friday in October.
Last Friday in October.
October is not a national anything. It's not like
nobody said that. It's just the end of the year is fast approaching.
Say it in November. Save it for November. It becomes less dramatic if you do it every month. It's the last Friday.
But they go by quickly. October felt a little long. But when November hits, it's over.
Right, then say it in November. Then everybody could, revel in their misery and like, oh,
November's Tuesday. November's
say it
Tuesday.
At the end of November, not
no.
Don't do it like it's the second. It's the second Thursday.
Do you know that there are U.S. networks that are already playing marathon Christmas movies?
There are people in this country
Yes.
that have already put up their Christmas decorations.
Oh, that's insane. But I was driving in a place that usually blasts loud music every day, every single day. They are playing Christmas music, and I'm like, no, it's too early.
I'm trying to remember who it is. I was in a store recently, and the weird thing is the store also sells Halloween decorations.
Mm-hmm.
But they've already put up their Christmas decorations, and they're like, it's on sale.
Yeah, well.
Because I think they're also trying to clear out the last ones from last year.
Probably.
So that they could have space for the new inventory to come in November.
Yeah.
With that said, I think that the problem is that Buddy Hield just needs to go to the Lakers.
What now?
He's not going to win until he gets to the Lakers.
Where did this come from?
I'm just saying.
Out of Halloween?
No. I'm just saying. Don't mind me saying, while speaking on that topic, I think until Buddy Hield goes to the Lakers, where he was supposed to go from the get-go.
Was he?
Yeah.
Who says?
Remember when Kobe was training him? And there was all those rumors and stuff. He was like, oh, yeah, Kobe taking him under his wing.
Very random.
He's supposed to go to the Lakers. When he goes to the Lakers, then the Bahamas will have our 10th ring? Because we're counting all the ones from Golden State.
So you think he's going to
And
turn
the
things
four-
around? Because the Lakers are horrible.
Yeah, when he gets there, most of those losers will be gone. It'll be LeBron's last 2 years.
Oh, you're not including him as one of the losers. Oh, okay.
LeBron
nice.
could take us. I'm not a Laker. I mean the Bahamas. LeBron could help get the Bahamas 2 more rings.
There are other good teams. Yeah.
I don't think that he's going to go in those teams. It's the Lakers.
Where is this coming from?
I'm just saying that's what it is.
Okay.
Now you don't have to agree with me. You could argue with a sports person if you want to.
Uh-huh.
But that's Steven's position.
It's so random out of nowhere. We're talking about Christmas decorations.
Well, I just know. I want to bring it back to the
Okay.
Bahamas.
All right. Well, good morning to you as well, Stephen Hanna. All right, so coming up this morning, we've got a special edition of the show. We're going to be talking as we wind down October. It is Breast Cancer Awareness Month, and we're going to be talking with survivors and family members of survivors about the layers of support that complement medical intervention in the successful treatment of breast cancer. And we're calling it Takes a Village, and that's coming up this morning. Later, a Morning Blend business all month long. Our Safe and Sound series has been looking at cryptocurrency awareness. And today, as we wrap up the series, we're talking about cryptocurrency use in ransomware, a global perspective on that. So looking forward to that discussion as well. So a lot to get to on this Friday morning. Let's begin, though, with what else is in the news. And in the news, this story just doesn't appear to want to quit, but instead of giving us answers, we're getting a lot of talk and back and forth. But now the Office of the Prime Minister's Press Secretary, Clint Watson, is saying he wants the FNM to say specifically which law the government broke in funding the Bermuda trip, which we still are unsure of whether it was a political trip, an official visit. What was it? When did we help to found their PLP? What? And all these things. How many aides went? We don't know. What was the overall bill? What was that $24,000 check for? Was that only for the aircraft, the airplane, the charter flight? We're not getting any of those answers. But they're trying to. Yes, that would be great. Since we can't, and a real answer, a political trip or goodwill PLP gesture, whatever. But give us the answers, and then let's put this to bed. But when is that going to come? Don't hold your breath. Yeah.
I'm saying it'll never be put to bed because that's how things go on both sides.
Well, if we accept it. But this could be simple. Just do it. Just do it and get it over.
An itemized list?
Yeah.
Okay.
Who all went? How many people? Enough
itemized
to
list
fill that plane, or was it more?
I can't get one from my insurance company.
Well, that's on you.
From the government.
That's on you.
No.
I don't know what that's about.
Wait till you find out who gives me insurance. Wait till you find out who gives me insurance.
It's still on you.
Okay.
Still definitely on you. Because there are options. There are options out there.
Nope. Not when you weigh a certain amount. But anyway,
what?
Let's stay on topic.
See, that is you again.
How is it on me?
Yeah. So the other big story in
they use a flawed BMI counter. It's for skinny white people. And I can say that with full assurance. If you weigh over 300 pounds inside this country, it is very difficult to get life insurance. But it doesn't matter how tall you are.
Okay.
But you may continue.
Useful information.
It's not useful information. Not if you weighed 400 pounds at one point.
Well, people need to know. Okay. Maybe we should do a show on that. But hey, you've done a great job. You're losing lots of weight.
Yeah, and I still don't fit inside their criteria.
Oh dear. Okay.
I'm like, it's fine.
We'll have a show. We'll have some experts on industry professionals, and I'll have them on Friday.
Okay.
So you can
have
it
so
out
I can
with
berate
them. Yes. All right. So the big headlines in the papers: grocers present proposal to government. They are issuing a counter proposal to whatever the government has said to them. Our Candia Dame's writing about it. The Retail Grocers Association asking the government to consider further alleviating the burden on the most vulnerable in the Bahamas by eliminating the 10% value-added tax on breadbasket items. Here we go again. That recommendation is included in a proposal the association sent to the Prime Minister on Wednesday, as grocers continued their objection to the announced margin changes on 38 categories of items first announced by the Prime Minister in his national address from October 11th. Association President Philip Benaby advising the Prime Minister that the group has conducted an extensive and exhaustive canvassing of more than 130 national members. That many? And concluded that its proposal would grant relief to the most vulnerable and not result in the demise of the retail grocery business. It says, quote, "It is our primary position that we enter a temporary public-private partnership with the government through the implementation of a food assistance program for the most vulnerable among our Bahamian brothers and sisters."
Sorry, 1 second. When he says public-private partnership, does he mean that the government pays and that they pay the government less? Because that's not public-private. That's just
no.
public.
They explain it. They
Okay.
explain it. We'll get to it. Right? They want to do this along with the Ministry of Social Services. It is our offer that the Retail Grocers Association will partner with the ministry toward the addition of a 10% value on all food stamps or vouchers issued by the ministry.
Jump in. Go.
now?
Listen, this is to them.
Oh, no.
Go jump in a fiery lake.
Stephen,
They can put their head where the sun don't shine.
why are you saying that? They have...
So my contribution is every time you buy another pizza from me, I'll give you 10% off the next pizza. That's
Is
not
that the way that you're looking at it.
They're saying a 10% value to the coupons that I have to purchase something from them to earn.
Is that how you read that?
That
or
is exactly
is
how
it,
it's
if it's
read.
$20, we'll
No.
add 10% more to the value,
first
so
of
you
all-
can buy 10% more on the
First
20.
of all, their stamps and all of their coupon stuff are worth pennies anyway.
So you have a problem with the ministry?
No.
Well, that's what they're saying. So the ministry's vouchers, they will add 10% on top of the value of that.
Okay, I thought they meant their own.
No, the ministries. So we don't jump to conclusions so quickly. The ministry's vouchers, they will add a 10% value on top of that.
Then
so it's 20%. Can you? So are you going to tell them to get out of the fiery pit?
No. They can still remain there
okay.
because that's still lame. Because they're still, the only thing they're doing is saying we're going to probably give the government what their money was worth the first time.
Okay.
No, here's the thing, Dwight. The reason why I am very harsh with them or I don't feel any sort of sympathy for them is because, yes, like most people, I thought putting 10% VAT on everything was wrong, right? Mm-hmm. But I feel like they're doing this to get the public on their side, right? They say, oh, take the VAT off of this. But here's the problem. They're not thinking of it holistically. They're thinking of it for themselves. Who's the biggest employer in this country?
The government?
Okay. The government has to pay their employees with what? Money? Okay, so the government needs revenue. Mm-hmm. The government needs tax. If you start eliminating tax somewhere, then it has to come from somewhere else. Otherwise, the majority of people who are employed in the country won't have money to go to the food stores. The government is stuck between a rock and a hard place no matter what. These persons have an opportunity. This organization that they have, they can form a co-op, and the same thing they complain about, they could buy the groceries at a cheaper price, all right? Some of them. They could figure out a way they could buy different products, and some of them have bought different products, all right? Mm-hmm. But instead of them doing that sort of stuff, they're sitting down there saying the government should collect less money from us so that we don't have to adjust our living at all. Most of them have not even passed on whether it's savings, whether it's investing in their own company. You go in all these stores, birds flying about, rice on the ground, the walls dirty, mold, right? Nobody got all the ceiling tiles. But you want me to say, y'all giving the money, y'all using the money for something? The only thing y'all doing is going to vacation. They the ones going on all type of wild vacations and foolishness. Where's the money going that they do have?
We're not talking about not just the big chains.
I'm talking about
little stores.
And that's what I'm saying. The little ones can get together the same way they could sit inside the same room and row that the government is taking all their money. They could form a co-op and buy with a better purchasing power if they all got together. But they're only willing to come together to complain about stuff. Get together, buy corned beef for $1, right? So that you don't have to worry about selling it for $4.
Yeah. Okay, so you're giving, I know that was just an example, right?
Yes.
But they're saying that they can't do that anymore.
Why?
That because of the cost of the global challenges, they're not able to
You're
get
saying
these
that
costs.
if all of them got together, the price
I don't
wouldn't
know
change.
if it's going to be like that anymore. I don't know if it's going to be
for nothing.
I'm not sure, but they're saying there are so many challenges now that their costs have gone way up, and now their margins are razor thin, and the government's asking them to lower the margins.
The
on
reason why
things.
their margins are razor thin is because they're buying individually.
Maybe in some instances, it might not be across the board.
Even if it's not across the board, they have an opportunity to get together, and that you can't tell me that they have no purchasing power if all of them got together and purchased stuff together. They're not even next to each other, so they're not even really in competition. These stores aren't.
I mean, it seems like they're all getting stuff from the same place, with a few exceptions.
If they're getting all the stuff from a local wholesaler, then that is another problem. I'm saying that the same way that other persons are doing it, because you'll have persons call this radio station day in and day out and complain on one hand saying, "Oh, the price of everything up," and then turn around and saying, the Chinese underselling us, and they doing this and that. And you know that they are buying as a single solitary block.
I don't know that.
I'm talking about the people who are complaining. Because they'll also say, oh, they buy all this stuff together. So you get together. You get together and work together. What is? What? All it's got to work together as behemoths to take ourselves forward. I can never remember the words of the song. How does the song go?
I don't know what you're talking about.
Doesn't matter, Dwight. The whole point is, they have options. And it cannot be that the only option you have is the government needs to take less taxes from us, because that means it has to come from somewhere else. All you do is the same way we complain about the government kicking the can down the road. This is an example of us kicking the can next door. There was garbage in our yard. We throwing it over the fence.
All right, let's hear a little more about what they're proposing, right? So they want to do that, add value to the stamps, the food stamps and vouchers from the Ministry of Social Services. They say it's agreed among our members that this partnership will last for 4 to 6 months and that it will be honored nationwide. It is clear that this method is the most equitable of ensuring that relief literally gets into the hands of those who need it most. It provided a list of 20 items, which it says have been largely taken from the categories which were initially advanced. It says this list has been compiled with not only the most vulnerable consumers in mind, but also those most vulnerable among their members.
Also, that wouldn't benefit as many people as what the government is implementing, because that would only benefit the people who are on the social assistance program. That's not going to benefit you, Dwight. That's not going to benefit me. That's not going to benefit the person who is on the edge of being on the social assistance program, right? And so it's like, it's not as widespread.
Okay. Well, I mean, can you say for certain that they would do less than what the government's proposing?
Yes, because they're only doing it for a specific portion of the population. The government is saying the government isn't saying, oh, Dwight has to pay more for bread because Dwight can afford to pay more for bread. The government is saying bread is across the board, this price. They are saying, okay, for a small select portion of the population, we are going to reduce the price of bread by 20 cents. Not even 20 cents. It's probably like 15 cents or something. I can't do it.
No, I mean, they're saying items. They are saying items. They're saying,
no, I'm just using bread as an example.
yeah, but I mean,
It could be whatever. I'm saying it's because it's saying it's for the people who are using the social assistance program, right?
20 items which have been largely taken from the categories which you initially advanced. So similar to the 38 that the
I'm saying, how are they doing it too?
they're just going to. They are saying it should be 20 instead of 38. That they can see they will propose the.
No, I meant the first thing where they're talking about the coupons or the
Right.
that
Uh-huh.
that's only for the social assistance program, right? That's not for everybody.
So that's they're offering that, but also 20 items, not 38 categories that the government's offering. So
what are those 18 items that they're afraid to do?
Well, I don't know.
That's their bread and butter, I'm guessing.
Well,
pun intended.
They say we are in agreement with the 25% markup on all dry goods, price control items, but request a 30% markup for the family islands. Due to the rising cost of electricity and shrinkage, i.e. spoilage, a markup of 35% in Nassau and 40% for the family islands should be placed on perishables. The differentiation between the rates suggested for New Providence and the Family Islands takes into consideration the cost of doing business in the Family Islands, which has become more expensive over the years. Now, again, the government had recommended or had announced 38 items, but the association's been saying it's not just items, it's 38 categories of items.
So the stuff that could stay on the shelf forever, they're like, yeah, those, but, the other things.
You're being very harsh on these folks.
This is why
very,
it's
very
important
harsh.
for us to get the food sustainability.
Let me read more about this saying before you judge them so harshly, before you hear everything they're saying.
You're not going to change my opinion on them.
Okay. Now, the government announced that chicken would have a maximum 15% markup for wholesalers and a maximum 25% markup for retailers. Okay. The grocers proposed that only frozen drumsticks should be subject to price control, with a markup of 25% for wholesalers and 35% for retailers.
I encourage, you know what? Let it go, Stephen. Don't say nothing.
Yeah, let me finish. The government announced margins for turkey of 15 and 25%, but the association proposes margins for whole turkey only at 25 and 35%. While the government announced bread will mark with a markup of 15 and 25%, the association proposes only white, plain, sliced bread be price controlled at those margins. The government said put peanut butter on the list with a markup of 15 to 25%. The association proposed that non-organic, smooth, and crunchy under 16 ounces in the bread basket and at those same margins, so only those. Also, the government has fresh milk on its list with a markup of 15 and 25%. The association proposes non-organic whole 2% and skim milk at those margins. The government has put soap on the list, but the association proposes that bath bar soap be the only price-controlled soap. The government has all brands and sizes of eggs, but the association proposes that only non-organic, free, or free-range regular eggs be priced controlled. Now,
what in the sound? Does that make sense to you, Dwight? That last bit. They're literally saying only the most expensive ones.
Well, no.
Am I?
Well, non-organic wouldn't be the most.
Wait, are they saying non-organic should not be price controlled?
Mm-hmm. Should be price controlled.
No.
Non-organic, free or free-range regular eggs be price controlled.
Wait, they want to price control organic free-range eggs.
The only non-organic, free or free-range regular eggs be price controlled.
Okay, that.
So
I was very confused about that.
Expensive.
Okay, so they want the regular eggs that everybody buys to be price controlled.
Although I don't think that's free range. But anyway, but non-organic eggs. Mm-hmm.
Right, the regular Hillendale, we can say it because that's the only ones, Dwight. That's the only one they sell.
Okay.
All right.
Well, among the items the government has added to the price control list, which are not on the association's proposed list, are bananas, oranges, apples, limes, tomatoes, iceberg lettuce, broccoli, green bell peppers, carrots, diapers, feminine napkins, and boxed macaroni and cheese mix.
They don't want any of those things price control.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Do you see a problem with any of that?
It's interesting.
Because I see a problem with it.
It's interesting.
And also, it's putting us right back to where we started because they never wanted price control on fruits and vegetables. That was the thing that we was complaining about when the F&M came into power. Mm-hmm. Like, I remember having that conversation in this room before the pandemic that the only things that are price control are shelf-stable stuff. So I feel like they're putting us right back to where we started. The stuff that they can leave on the shelf forever, price control that.
Well, so what they're saying is that when they have to price control, they have to mark up prices on all the other stuff.
They don't.
Well, how are they going to pay for electricity and staff and all the things they need to do?
This is me saying that they're running their businesses horribly.
I mean, how well do you know the business? I mean, how are you saying this? I mean, maybe you should have a conversation with them.
Why?
So you can really understand. I mean, you're making a lot of assumptions.
Right. I'm looking at these businesses, and they're doing something wrong.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Wow. Okay.
Go look at the next time you go to any food store, look at the sign and say, wow, this sign hasn't changed from the 80s. You guys have no solar power, because I feel like the government isn't going to say, oh, you guys can't have alternative energy, you guys can't have renewable energy. They have no intent to getting it. Some of these stores don't even have scales to weigh the fruits and vegetables.
Well, that's a violation of the law.
Oh, and yet they continue.
Well, see, people like you need to call the police, call the Bureau of Standards, call Consumer Protection, call everybody.
I've complained and I've written to everybody.
Wow.
All right. Then we also have other issues where these receipts are wrongly marked. Right? Where it's like, because they don't have scanners, because why would they have scanners? Mm-hmm. Mislabeling, misprice. The parking boy system, are parking boys paid a salary? No, of course not. Mm-hmm. It's all based on the charity of the public. All right? So you have child slavery going on inside your food stores.
That's a bigger problem.
No. It's all of it is connected because at the end of the day, right? I'm looking at all the places that you are already cutting costs, and I'm saying to myself, well, that's the reason why whole wheat bread is $4. Now you're turning around and saying, no, we barely making any money to keep our 4 indoor Olympic-sized swimming pools warm in the winter.
Oh, boy. Okay, let me just read this, and then we'll get to the calls and messages. Someone says here, this is the association saying, we wish to confirm that the Retail Grocers Association shares your belief, as expressed at the last meeting, that the time has come to replace all price control regulations with revised consumer protection legislation on an urgent basis. The association and the government expected to meet today to continue talks on the matter. The Ministry of Economic Affairs already announced that the government will begin enforcing price control changes come Tuesday, 1st of November. All right, so Stephen's had a lot to say. Let's hear what you have to say about this, folks. Give us a call, 323-6232, 325-4316, 325-4259. Tweet us, Facebook us, text us, 422-4796. Standard text rates apply. Let's go to the phone lines. Good morning, caller. You're on the air. Caller, good morning. Are you there?
Oh, God, Lady Ada Strachan, voice along with you and Steve and Dwight.
Hi, good morning.
Dwight, let me ask you something. Let me say something for you. We need justice, law, and all of this country. Let me ask you something. Now, out of all of those stuff in which government want people to come down on, right? Do government allow those stuff to come into the country free of charge?
Free of charge? Are you talking about customs duty free, or
Right.
that's what you mean?
Yeah.
Because there's nothing free. I'm sure some things are. Not everything is duty free. Some things are duty free.
You know, when I look at the like Steve, somebody said, right? The thing is, one of the store managers said something, right, in which you read, right? Now, he or her said that if they were to have a coupon, right, they can, basically what he said, they can get discount. And I agree with
No,
him.
it's
What is it? Explain it to me before I cut
they would
that.
add a 10% value on any food stamps or vouchers, so it would be worth 10% more. 10% more.
But government wants it to be more than 10%.
No, that's not been proposed at all by the government. This is what the association is proposing, that they'll honor food stamps and add a 10% value to them.
What? Are you sure they only mean the ones for social?
Ministry of Social Services, yes.
So let me ask you something, Dwight. Now,
That don't make no sense.
that the amount of what the government saying is he wants us across the board. Everybody that go inside the food store would get a discount.
Yes.
You mean what the government is asking for?
Right.
Then not discounts. They're saying they're not allowing. They don't want the stores to mark things up beyond what they've set out.
Which government set up, or the store set up?
They don't want things to go beyond a certain price. So the government is putting a limit to how high up they can mark up the price.
And adding things to the list that were already price controlled.
Let me ask you something. Now, this is my question: Is government assisting the stores in order for government to get what it wants from the stores?
Assisting how?
Assist by bringing down the prices in the store.
They can't.
They cannot?
I mean, do you mean if they're going to add more things to the duty-free list? Is that what you're asking?
What I'm asking, right? Take for instance, because I am handicapped, right? I should allow to get something cheaper, which is not, right? But if they do put something cheaper for the handicapped, would that be only for the handicapped or for everybody?
The way that the government intends right now, it'd be for everybody.
Well, government wrong.
Why?
Because what that is now, that allowing the richer to get richer and the poor to get poorer.
I understand what you're saying, what you think you're saying, but at the same time, unless we're going to ask every single person to prove that they only have, I don't know, $16,000 a year, or they're only making $16,000 a year when they purchase groceries, then it's a very difficult thing to control. And then also, okay, you're making $24,000, but you have 2 children.
Well, Brayman sounds like he's in support of the proposal from the association.
No, he's not. He's in support of him getting more.
Well, that's what they're saying. For the most vulnerable in society, they want to offer discounts.
They're not giving discounts to blind people. Those selfish people.
You need to stop. Please stop. Please stop. Don't do that. Don't do that. Please.
They are not. They never said specifically that.
Yeah, but don't. They have many employees. They have people they need to support as well. And so everybody's struggling.
Right.
Everybody's struggling. We got to keep our personal feelings.
I agree. Everybody is struggling.
But, if you have such issues with certain stores, you should go to other stores. I'm sure it
Which
cannot be
store?
100% across the board horrible like this.
Name the good ones.
Oh, well, you're going to have to
Go
get out
by
of the
your
country
food.
then. I don't know what's going on. I don't know what's happening with you. But let's take this call. Good morning.
Farmers markets.
Caller, you're on the air. Good morning, caller.
Yes, sir. Good morning to all.
Hi.
Good morning.
What I see is that the government is lazy, right? To bring in, too lazy to bring in the taxes that we need to do. The government to take the duties off, take the duties off, right? They got what you call it right on the duties. They got right on the shipping. They got right on the services. They got right on the dock fees, on the dock, fees. They got right on everything, driving the cost of every good up. Rich in turn drive the cost of living up. They need to the government first need to bring the cost of living down. Even the licensing fees is harsh. They doing licensing fees on the gross. The percentage on the gross rather than the profits. You see, which is like the corporate tax, the profits. You see, so the government needs to bring the right taxes first, right, and not being so lazy, right, to bring the cost of living down, right, and then the thing when they did VAT, that was, when they bring VAT in itself rather than bringing income, at least bring income tax first. If they was too lazy, they say it was easy. You see, and the reason they do it because it's easy for them. The what you call it, duties is easy for them because it's out the port. You see, they don't want to do the work. They don't want to do the work and interdicting the people that evading it. They don't want to do no work. You see, and they don't want to tax themselves. You see, so first they need to do it, and so that's my point.
Okay.
See, this is what needs to come into the equation. We got so much income, duties on, even that price control on vehicles,
Yep, they complain about it a lot, and parts as well. So, yeah. We definitely need to reevaluate everything. Reevaluate everything, indeed. Okay. Some text messages. This person says here, the government needs to do away with taxing customs duties with VAT. Paying tax on a tax is very sloppy. Yeah, the caller said that. It is awful. I mean, and so that has to be considered as well, Stephen, these merchants are going through.
Understand. I do not support a 10% VAT across the board. But what I realize is that if we remove that, it has to come from somewhere. All right? There are all these people who are suing the government with a capital G. All right? All these roads that need to fix, all these schools that need repair, all these hospitals that need additional stuff. All right? All these different things that we need the government to do. That has to come from somewhere, all right? And so, and I don't even just, that is not inclusive of paying the people who keep the government running on a day-to-day basis. That's not the police, the teachers, all of the salaried government workers, all right? That money has to come from somewhere. So here's the thing. I have no problem with zero customs. I have no problem with zero VAT. But we have to get taxed somewhere because that's how it works.
Sure.
So it's like, where is it coming from? Now, I do agree. Go get the real property tax from all the people who own rental properties, who own buildings over $250,000. Get the money from them. I have no problem with that. But that itself won't be enough. We also would have to then be prepared for another hit to our salary from a different direction. And once we're all willing for that, listen, right? The government can take 50% of my income if I know that if I break my leg tomorrow, I don't have to walk it off. That if I get cancer tomorrow, that I don't have to walk it off.
And there better not be any customs duty.
I'm saying I don't have
more VAT.
No customs duty, no VAT. And they take 50% of my income, right? But that's all. No extra NIB, no nothing else. 50%. But if anything happened to me, I'm straight.
Okay.
Now, if they can promise me that, then sure.
Yeah.
All right? Now, and once again, I don't think anybody else who's about to call is going to say they agree the government can take 50% of their income.
I mean, if it's a scenario like that and it covers everything, you'd be surprised. Let's take this call quickly and then we'll read the rest of the messages. Hi, good morning. You're on the air. Good morning, caller.
Yeah, good morning.
Hi.
Listen, is duty, helicopters and airplane parts and salmon still duty free?
I can't keep up, but some of those things are. Mm-hmm.
I don't think helicopters
Still duty free for the high end, for the rich, right?
Well,
so why is it so difficult? Why the government going to allow that person to sit back with that 38 list and go through that and put all the poison out in the front with all the non-labeled peanut butter with chunks in it and stuff like that, all the non-labeled stuff, put them out. You notice what they don't want customs duty on, right? I mean the price to go down on price control, all the green peppers and all the stuff that's a little bit more healthy for you. You notice that, Stephen? You notice that?
That's the store people.
They want you to go with them eggs that are non-organic and stuff that when they rotten, they just turn black inside.
Well, we get to understand from them why they're saying
it's because it's shelf stable. They've told us before.
Yeah.
It's because the things that they have on the list. That's why they're like dry goods.
Mm-hmm.
They don't mind you price protecting that because that macaroni could stay on the shelf forever. Now the ones that have things in it that could spoil, like the powder, that one, because that have milk in it, it's dry milk, but it's milk. After 6 months, it could taste different. So that one, don't price protect that one. But the regular dry stuff, cornflakes will stay on the shelf forever.
Yeah. Callers, lots of texters are saying it too. Everyone's talking about this. We've been talking about it from VAT was implemented, about especially if you're bringing in items, you are paying multiple VATs. And it is, so even when they reduced the duties, the VAT and then the VAT on the surface and the VAT on the end, it really, you haven't saved much at all, right? So it's been very challenging. Very challenging. This person says, excuse me, someone says here, in some cases, the wholesalers mark up 25% and then the retailer puts 35% on top of that. Or am I understanding this correctly? Yeah, that sounds like how it is.
Right, but that's why I'm saying that they need to get together, form a cooperative, right, and figure out another way to bring in the goods that you need for your business.
Still allowed to do the markups, though.
No, I'm saying if you're saying the problem is that the wholesaler, I'm assuming they mean a local wholesaler, right, is marking up the goods, then take out the middleman. It's enough for y'all to get together and bring in a trailer. If we're talking about these convenience stores that that through the corners, it's enough for y'all to do that. If we're talking about the medium-sized convenience stores, it's definitely enough for y'all to do that. And if we're talking about the big stores, y'all can do it by yourself.
All right, some more text messages here. There should be no elimination of VAT on anything. I experienced the same item priced differently in 3 stores on the same day in 3 different locations of the main grocer. They can lower their prices and stop charging them every week. You do not know the inner economics of these grocers and cannot just jump to support them. And the big grocers are trying to use the smaller ones, but they are the ones that will benefit the most. Okay, some people are seeking out ads. They're calling names of places that are very nice and clean with low prices and variety. Okay.
So you're going to call them?
No, I'm not going to call the name. If you want us to do that, I'll give you the number to call, and then I'll say the name.
You don't want us to shop at the bird-free places? The places that don't. Not, just so you know.
Just.
If you see birds flying around inside the store, call the manager and say, I'm going to call BASFA. That's the Bahamas Food and Safety Agency. I'm going to call BASFA for you guys. If you don't reduce the price of this rice, you got to hold them hostage just like they holding the rest of us hostage.
Okay, well.
But I mean, you also should call BASFA anyway.
Well, it's been proven that price controls have never benefited those in need, and it creates shortages. It basically disrupts supply and demand.
Where has it been proven that? Because I can't get statistics on almost anything I need. I'm trying to figure out where that person who clearly owns a store got statistics from. It's magical.
And as long as the cost of energy in this country remains high, nothing is going to change with this economy. That's a text. Another one says, Stephen should not be allowed to spew such ignorance from his mouth in the public ear on Guardian Radio, particularly
which
he
part was
doesn't
ignorant?
know the business and the business, okay?
How do you know I don't know? How do you know what my last name is?
What? That you say it every day. This one
Is
says
that my
here,
last name? Why would I tell these people my last name?
I don't understand what's going on.
So these evil people.
They're
attack
saying,
me
this
at the
texter says, I'm a 70-year-old physically challenged person, I think, living alone, my income totaling $8,000 per year. How can I get assistance from the government? I have to pay water, light, and phone also. I don't know why you're just asking about that. You should have been... the Ministry of Social Services has many things they can do to assist you. So please reach out to them. Another text here, I don't mind paying taxes only if I really benefit from it, like example, healthcare, like what you were saying, Stephen. Yep. And the final text here, this infatuation with taking VAT off breadbasket items is ridiculous. The majority of these items are already duty-free, and having a disparity in VAT allows for not only confusion, but theft. Okay, well, we're going to leave that there. We're going to take a break and be back with more. This is Morning Blend on Guardian Radio 96.9.
I'ma need a sentimental man or woman to pump me up. Feeling fussy, walking in my Balenciennes, trying to bring out the fabulous. Cause I give a fuck way too much. I'ma need like 2 shots in my cup. Wanna get up, wanna get down. That's how I feel right now.
This is Guardian Radio 96.9 FM, Nassau, Bahamas.
From clients doesn't have to be complicated.
Introducing RBC MultiPay. Now each attorney can securely accept and settle payments with one point-of-sale device supporting multiple bank accounts.
With competitive pricing, training, and easy setup, you will be up and running in no time.
Call 356-8500 to sign up for
RBC
MultiPay.
Time for your first look at traffic for this morning, brought to you by RBC. For all of life's moments, there's one Visa Classic credit card. Some schools on midterm break this week, so we're seeing different traffic patterns this morning, and we started that yesterday as well. But Milo Butler Highway, still heavy traffic from Fire Trail all the way up to Tonic Williams Darling Highway in the northbound lanes there. Gladstone Road also busy for you. Just north of Fire Trail, you see that heavy traffic on the way to JFK Drive, northbound lane. Blue Hill Road also busy for you, just north of Soldier Road on the way to Independence Drive. Those are the hot spots right now. Some building traffic on Carmichael westbound to Coral Harbor Road. We'll have another update for you after the 8 o'clock news. Your morning blend traffic brought to you by RBC. Experience cashless purchasing power and chip and pin security with your RBC Visa Classic credit card. Manage your day-to-day expenses and apply today at rbc.com/Caribbean/Visa Classic. And time for another check of your weather for today, brought to you by Arawak X. We've got a building high-pressure system north of the area that will continue to support mostly dry conditions and gentle to moderate winds across the islands today. Beachgoers should be alert for possible rip currents along north and east coast beaches. For all areas today, partly to mostly sunny, warm, and a bit breezy with a chance of a few spotty showers. Turning mostly fair and mild with a chance of a few stray showers tonight. Small craft caution comes into effect by this evening for the northwest and central Bahamas. Temperatures today getting up to around 86 Fahrenheit, 30 Celsius. Overnight lows tonight getting down to 70 Fahrenheit, 21 Celsius. In your extended outlook, a cold front is expected to skirt the extreme northwest Bahamas by Saturday morning before it becomes stationary by the evening. The system is expected to transition to a warm front, though, and leave the area northwards on Sunday. Elsewhere, the northern extent of a tropical wave expected to pass through portions of the southeast and central Bahamas through the weekend. So, for tomorrow, Saturday, partly sunny and warm with a chance of isolated showers and thunderstorms. Sunday, partly sunny and warm with a chance of isolated showers and thunderstorms. We'll have a look at the tropics coming up after the 8 o'clock news. But this morning blend weather check brought to you by Arawak X. Don't miss your chance to be an owner in Foot Care RX. Foot Care RX is closing this Monday, October 31st. Become an owner today for only $10 a share and a minimum of 5 shares. For more info, contact 603-5270 or go to arawakx.com to invest. Your chance to buy into Foot Care RX coming to an end this Monday, October 31st.
Mr. Campbell, we have your test results. Do you want the good news or the bad news first?
Good news. No, wait, bad news. Give it to me straight, doctor.
Your blood work came back. You've got erythrocytes all over.
Oh no, this can't be happening.
Here's the good news. That just means red blood cells. It's a good thing. You're completely fine.
With 99% of medical claims paid in 5 days, we're like a doctor who doesn't want to be a comedian. CG Atlantic, medical and life. Good like that.
You're always on the go. We know life can be a daily rush. CIBC, First Caribbean, you can count on us. We make life easier. Manage your accounts at any time. Apply for a loan. It's easy when you bank online. We make life easier with choices that suit you. CIBC, First Caribbean.
If you were exposed to COVID-19, have symptoms, or traveled recently, get tested so that you can have peace of mind about your status. Just visit one of our convenient locations on New Providence at the University of the Bahamas or Golden Gates Plaza, weekdays 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. and Saturdays 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. On Eleuthera at the Three Island Dock, Mondays through Thursdays 8 a.m. to 6 p.m., Fridays and Saturdays 8 a.m. to 7 p.m., and Sundays 8 a.m. to 3 p.m. On Exuma at the Regatta Park, weekdays 9 a.m. to 3 p.m., Saturdays 9 a.m. to 5 p.m., and Sundays 1 p.m. to 6 p.m. On Abaco at Maxwell Food Store, Mondays through Saturdays 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. The COVID-19 test results will be ready in 15 minutes, and the tests are free.
This message is brought to you by PAHO WHO and the Ministry of Health and Wellness.
Wake up, it's a new day. Wake up, it's a new day.
I used to think of the bank as my personal ATM machine. If I wanted a new car, new furniture, a weekend trip to Miami, no problem, just max out the credit card or top up my loan. I was a big baller until I realized that 75% of my salary was going to pay back all those loans. Fidelity's personal financial coaching was the best solution. Fidelity gave me a plan with a debt consolidation loan that has a built-in savings that pays 5% interest. I now only have one low monthly payment, plus money in my pocket. Give Fidelity Bank a call at 356-7764 in Nassau or 352-6676 in Freeport. Visit any of Fidelity's locations or visit a website at fidelitygroup.com.
Don't want to wait until Thanksgiving or Christmas to remodel? You're in luck. Nassau Tile is having a pre-holiday sale from October 24th to the 29th. You can save 25% off ceramic tiles and 20% off store-wide on tiles, thin-set, grout, and mosaics. We have the best tile experts ready to help you select the right tiles for your kitchen, backsplash, living room, bathroom, or patio. Visit our showroom at 43 Dowswell Street and save big with Nassau Tile.
You're always on the go. We know life can be a daily rush. CIBC, First Caribbean, you can count on us. We make life easier. Manage your accounts at any time. Apply for a loan. It's easy when you bank online. We make life easier with choices that suit you. CIBC, First Caribbean.
This is Guardian Radio 96.9 FM, Nassau, Bahamas.
Always on the go? Missed the show? You can now listen to Guardian Radio talk shows anytime, anywhere on Spotify and YouTube by searching Guardian Radio 96.9 FM or by entering the name of your favorite show. You can also listen by logging on to GuardianTalkRadio.com and clicking on the podcast tab. Guardian Radio, continuing to provide you with fresh news and smart talk anywhere, anytime, all day.
At a time when jobs are hard to find, crime is a concern, and Bahamians are uncertain about the future of the country, there is one paper you can rely on as your source of news and commentary. The Nassau Guardian delves deeper into the issues. We ask the tough questions. We tell your stories. If you haven't already, pick up a copy today. The Nassau Guardian. News and views that matter since 1844.
This is Guardian Radio 96.9 FM, Nassau, Bahamas.
Welcome back to Morning Blend here on Guardian Radio 96.9. We are streaming live on GuardianTalkRadio.com and on the Guardian Radio app for smart devices. We're also on your televisions on Cable Bahamas Channel 969 and BTC Flow Channel 612. You can tweet us at Morning Blend 969 or Facebook.com/MorningBlend969. Text us 422-4796. And now at 8:19, time for another check of your weather for today, brought to you by Bahamas First Insurance. We've got high pressure just north of the area that will continue to support mostly stable conditions and gentle to moderate winds across the islands. Beachgoers should be alert, though, for possible rip currents along north and east coast beaches. For all areas today, partly to mostly sunny, warm and a bit breezy with a chance of a few spotty showers, turning mostly fair and mild with a chance of a few stray showers tonight. Small craft caution comes into effect this evening in the northwest and central Bahamas for boaters. Temperature-wise today, highs getting up to around 86 Fahrenheit, 30 Celsius. Overnight lows tonight getting down about 70 Fahrenheit, 21 Celsius. In your extended outlook, a cold front is expected to skirt the extreme northwest Bahamas by Saturday morning before it becomes stationary by the evening and then transition to a warm front and leave the area northwards on Sunday. Elsewhere, the northern extent of a tropical wave is expected to pass through portions of the central and southeast Bahamas through the weekend. So, for tomorrow, Saturday, partly sunny and warm with the chance of a few isolated showers and thunderstorms. Small craft caution will be in effect for the northwest Bahamas. And Sunday, partly sunny and warm again with a chance of isolated showers and thunderstorms. Small craft should exercise caution in swells. In the tropics, we're watching two areas. A trough of low pressure over the southwestern Atlantic has a low chance, about 30% chance for tropical cyclone formation through the next 5 days. And then there's an area of low pressure expected to form over the eastern Caribbean Sea this weekend, possibly related to the southern portion of an existing trough of low pressure over the area. The system has about a 60% chance for tropical cyclone formation through the next 5 days. None of those expected to impact our weather here, though. That is your Morning Blend weather check, brought to you by Bahamas First Insurance. Still the first and only local insurance company and agency network that lets you buy car and home insurance 100% online. Try it at bahamasfirst.com. And we've got another check of your traffic for this morning, brought to you by RBC. For all of life's moments, there's one Visa Classic credit card. As we've been telling you, it's midterm for some schools, so we're not seeing the heavy traffic that we normally see in some parts of the island, but still some issues on Milo Butler Highway, traffic from Fire Trail up to Tawny Williams Darling Highway, heavy at this hour. Glaston Road's looking better for you. Traffic's about midway between Fire Trail and the roundabout with JFK Drive, but still heavy once you get midway in the northbound lane this morning. Elsewhere, we're seeing some building traffic on Carmichael westbound to Coral Harbor Road, and Blue Hill Road's busy for you just north of Soldier Road, getting over that hill to Independence Drive. Elsewhere, not looking so bad this morning. That's your morning blend. Traffic alert brought to you by RBC. Experience cashless purchasing power and chip and pin security with your RBC Visa Classic credit card. Manage your day-to-day expenses and apply today at rbc.com/Caribbean/Visa Classic.
This is Guardian Radio 96.9 FM, Nassau, Bahamas.
You can be amazing, you can turn a phrase into a weapon or a drug. You can be the outcast, to be the backlash of somebody's lack of love. Or you can start speaking up. Nothing's gonna hurt you the way the words do when they settle near your skin. Kept on the inside and no sunlight, sometimes a shadow wins. But I wonder what would happen if you say what you wanna say and let the words fall out.
Welcome back to Morning Blend here on Guardian Radio 96.9. Dwight Strong along with Stephen Hanna. And it is Breast Cancer Awareness Month. We've been talking about that periodically throughout the month. And we're winding things down this morning with a special here on the show. We're calling it It Takes a Village. And we've got a lot of wonderful guests in studio with us. We have clinical psychologist Dr. Stephanie Hutchison. We have therapist Yvette Elliott. We have spiritual advisor Pastor Joshua Sands. And we have from Ports International, Nicolette Clark. Everybody, welcome. Welcome to the show. Great to have you with us.
Good morning.
All right. And Stephanie, I guess you're spearheading this, right? That's fair to say.
Yes.
Get a little closer to that mic there. Let's talk about Pink Elephant in the Room. That's who's presenting this. And you've been doing a lot of amazing things all month. Tell us about the group and what you've been doing, and then we'll get to what we're hoping to accomplish here today.
Okay, well, the Pink Elephant is a very small group of my tribe.
Okay.
It's my tribe, I call it them, who have joined with me to just deal with some of the issues that we don't necessarily talk about related to breast cancer care and treatment, because the elephant in the room is something that we kind of know about, but we don't talk about. And because pink is usually associated with breast cancer, it becomes the pink elephant in the room. And so that's kind of like the brand of that we've come up with. And as you said, we've had a couple of events. We had a Zoom seminar, Let's Get It On, earlier this month. And on Sunday, big project, we're launching Bosom Buddies, which is a Sunday coming, the 30th, which is a buddy system for women to encourage women, or people to encourage women, because, you know, you could be encouraging your wife to get your mammogram, because we know that early detection is a really critical factor in women finding breast cancer early and it leading to the best chance of survivorship. And so that's the Pink Elephant. And then today we're talking about just how breast cancer impacts the community. Because it's not just a patient, there are all of these people who are connected to that person who's also impacted by breast cancer. And so we hope we have that discussion this morning.
All right, so I want to get to that in a bit, but you said something, things that we don't talk about, they're in the room, but like what? What are some of those things?
Well, when we did our inaugural series in 2020, we talked about recurrence. That I know there's always this push for, survival. Yes, that's it. But anybody who has lived with cancer, whether it's at the back of their mind or the front of their mind, deal with the fact that it could come back. And so the recurrence anxiety, we spoke about that. Because I had a recurrence, 23 years between first and second diagnosis.
My goodness.
I hadn't thought about that ever coming back. but it did. And so that was one of our topics. We also talked about breast reconstruction.
Why do you think people don't talk about that?
Because it's scary.
It is scary.
It is scary because you've gone through and you think, okay, that's it. And then to have it come back, or to kind of always deal with the fact that it could. I don't know if there's any, I don't know, so don't shoot me. I don't know of any illness where people kind of have to deal with that as a part of the new normal, that this could come back. Because there are people like me who've had long times between the first and second. Some people never have a recurrence, but kind of something that you always live with.
Yeah.
And then some of the other stuff, like I developed lymphedema in my hand 13 years after diagnosis. And
What
it's
is
something,
that? Explain.
It's a swelling that it's a swelling that can take place based on the surgery they do for breast cancer. So I had 17 lymph nodes removed, and so that kind of made my lymphatic system, technical term, a little wonky. And so like the plumbing wasn't, processing the lymphatic fluid, so it kind of stays in certain places. So if you see someone with a swollen limb or leg or arm, you can have it anywhere in your body. Usually it's sometimes, it doesn't always happen, but it's something that can happen after you've had breast cancer treatment, particularly the surgery.
Yeah.
And so those things we don't talk about because we're so focused on survival and getting over it. But those are some of the pink elephant topics. And then the one we talked about earlier this month, like sometimes because of treatment, not just for breast cancer, cervical and ovarian, things could start to not function as well in our nether regions. And so we had talked about what do you do about that? Dr. Devanya Bonmi Lee is a pelvic floor and pelvic health therapist. And so she just gave us some ideas about these are the things that can happen in terms of sexual function, and these are the things that we can do to intervene so that you can recover as much of your normal function as possible.
Yeah.
So those are the pink topics.
Okay. All right. How receptive have people been to talking about these pink elephant topics?
Pardon?
How receptive have people been?
Oh, very. Because of the pandemic, they've usually been by Zoom, so we've had a very good response. We took a break last year. I think I wore myself out the first year. We took a break last year, but we're back in full track and moving forward with just trying to make the public and survivors and those who love them aware of, the ways that cancer can impact our functioning.
All right, so let's get into it. It takes a village and the layers of support that you mentioned. Does everybody understand their role? And how do you know what your role should be in a situation like this? What are the do's and the don'ts? Should there be do's and don'ts? Is there a rule book?
No, there's no rule book, but I think the conversation about it is important. And I think that's why we've assembled this team of people, because every single one of us in some way has been impacted by breast cancer. Pastor Josh, his wife, is a survivor. Yvette's mom was diagnosed with breast cancer and subsequently passed away. Ports International, pardon? Your sister is a survivor as well. I didn't know that. Now I know. Yes, so Ports International, they provide so many of the devices that are needed for cancer survivors. One of them is gripper needles and ports. These are some of the things that we don't necessarily think about that's a part of cancer care.
Yeah. Pastor Josh, let's talk to you. Let's talk about this experience from your eyes and how this was for you.
Well, Dwight, one of the great challenges that I had as a husband was not understanding feminine issues. I think Adam may have been the only man who ever understood his wife to begin with. But when it comes down to something as deadly and as scary as cancer, I think the feeling for most people is, well, how do we deal with this? I don't have it. I don't even have mammograms. I get, PSA tests and A1C kinds of tests. But after she got her mammogram test, this is back in 2016, and we went to get the results, they said there's something that doesn't look good. And so they did a biopsy, and we got it tested, and it came back. It was positive for cancer of the left breast. Well, the challenge for me was giving support without trying to spiritualize it. I think a lot of pastors and a lot of ministers tend to spiritualize sickness. You're not supposed to get that, or they do the other thing, which is, I'm not going to receive this. And so they have people who are in their churches or even in their families not getting treatment, not getting proper care, and not changing anything because God's going to heal you. Well, here's the thing. God has given us brain, he's given us heart, he's given us faith, and all of that works. But then faith without works, the Bible says, is dead. You have to do some things. Well, they were looking at doing a mastectomy, double mastectomy. We had all kinds of recommendations. She decided she was not going to do any of those. She decided she was not going to have chemo or radiation. I said, now, look, that's scary. But for me, it was real. I said, but everybody gets it, and as a supporter, you have to understand that you cannot take over this person's life. You cannot go and say, you have to do this. You can't pull rank. You have to realize that they are going through a difficult time. And she says, I don't want to do it because after studying it, I believe that it's going to kill a lot of the good things that I need. And so we saw a nutritionist. I said, look, I will support you. And here's what's important. I think when you're living with someone who has cancer, particularly a spouse, you have to give them a lot of support. Moods can change, physiological issues can change, anatomical concerns, psychological, even spiritual concerns. Where is God? And God is the same place he was last year, when you were doing well. But by the same token, I want to make it clear that, and she would even tell you herself, she's not saying don't take chemo. She's not saying don't get radiation. She says, if that's your conviction, go ahead and do it. Mm-hmm. But at the time, we looked at it and we said, we think if we change our diets. And here's the thing. She changed her diet and I changed my diet.
Right.
I used to weigh 205 pounds. I'm down to 184, okay? We started eating healthy foods, nutrition, building up the body. And so, yeah, there was prayer, but there was also a lot of work. Walking, I swim every day now. I get exercise. By her getting it, it made me take it seriously. Mm-hmm. So 6 years later, she had 2 surgeries, and when you mentioned lymph nodes, she had 14 lymph nodes taken out. Mm-hmm. And that's a scary thing, to sit there and watch your loved one be carted away for the second time. First one, they took out the lump, and then the second time, now they've got to go in and get the lymph nodes, and we see something else that don't look good. But she went on and got it done, and every year she goes to Miami, gets her treatments done. It can be done here, but they've got all of her history and all the background, and so Mount Sinai and some other places and they say, wow, it's amazing.
Yeah.
So she's a survivor and a thriver. She doesn't dwell on it. She just takes care. She gets the port. She had a port put in, by the way, too, Dr. Hutchison. She had a port put in on the right side. And she gets that cleansed every month. So we do all the things that we know we need to do. Mm-hmm. But I want to say to people, look, man, if you don't know how awesome the human body is, you will begin to understand that being a Christian doesn't mean you are exempt, doesn't mean that you've sinned because you get cancer. No, it happens to everybody. It's in your DNA. My father passed away of prostate cancer. But so it made us very, very concerned when breast cancer became it was like front and center, and then we realized we got to do something. Mm-hmm. And so it's not just getting the treatment and getting the change that you begin with, but you got to live with it.
Right.
It's a lifestyle.
Yeah. Oh, you said something important. So, what if you really don't agree with the method that the patient is handling what they're facing?
This is where your support group comes in. Mm-hmm. We formed a support group. We had close friends that were very close to us, and we would talk with them. Not everybody. It's not the kind of thing you get up in church and say to everybody, here's what we did last week. But it's so important to have people that you trust. I think trust is very important. Mm-hmm. If I trust you to give me advice on the stock market, or give me advice on substance use disorder, or give me advice about something out of the Bible, then I'm going to trust what you say about this. So the support group is very, very helpful, and it's important that women come in and help. Now, here's the thing. A lot of the women who gave her advice said, oh, you're doing the wrong thing, and they literally just crushed her spirit. Mm. This will never work, and they made her feel really foolish. And so for those who do, the dissonance is you have to still accept the friendship, but not accept all the stuff that they throw at you.
Right.
Because we live in a religious society, a lot of rituals, a lot of voodoo, a lot of old wives' tales, rub this on that there, get this newspaper and that'll help that, and drink this and drink that. But you have to find that balance between science and faith and culture. I mean, culture is simply the dressing of our religion anyhow, but religion is the essence of all our culture. So at the heart I just want to end with this. At the heart of everybody's belief is what they consider to be the most important thing in their life. That's your religion. It may not be in a formalized sense, but whatever you consider to be of ultimate value that you act in light of, that's going to be the driving force. So as a pastor, as a counselor, as a therapist, I've had to find out, what does this person believe? What's key to their life? And so it helps when you can find that out and then begin take your faith or take your biblical teaching and put it in that. They may not accept it. And our job is not to make people Christian. I mean, we want to present the word, we want to encourage them, but they have to choose. It's not valid if you make them do it.
Yeah. Why? Yvette Elliott, as a therapist, your perspective on this and the support that you encourage and can give.
Well, as a daughter of a mother who also had cancer, breast cancer.
Let's get a little bit closer to that mic. There we
Who
go.
had breast cancer and had the reoccurrence like Steph talked about and subsequently passed away. I have a different perspective in some ways. I guess in some ways it may be a unique perspective as that. And add to that a therapist. So I'm talking to people from all walks of life, people who we see people typically at the worst times of their lives, right? When things are going wrong, that's when people would seek out somebody like me. And so just holding someone's hand through those kinds of situations and helping to guide them through that in terms of being able to address whatever the issues are that come up as a result of that. Because like Pastor was talking about, there are a lot of people who express their thoughts and express their opinions, and you have to put yourself in the perspective of understanding that that is someone else's journey. So how you choose to do that, that is your journey. And I can respect your journey without joining you on that journey. I don't have to do exactly what you did because, what works for you isn't necessarily going to work for somebody else. But I think sometimes, as I listen to him as well, I think sometimes when people have those strong reactions, that's coming out of fear.
Right.
Yes.
So it's like, oh, well, no, you can't do that. And you need to do this. And and sometimes you do have to step back and say, okay, I get where you're coming from, and I know you're saying this because you love me, but maybe you don't have as much information as you might need to have to assist me in making this decision, and so you can be in my life in this situation as a support system for me. You can be that person who I know loves me unconditionally, but are you necessarily going to be the person who I'm taking medical advice from? Not necessarily,
Right.
And you have to get comfortable with that. But I think this is the kind of situation too, while people are sometimes very afraid of it, they sometimes find a steel in their backbone that they didn't necessarily know they had, because it's kind of like, okay, now the rubber's met the road.
Yeah.
And this decision is a life-changing decision. And so sometimes when it gets to that, all of the other stuff has a way of falling away. And it's like, okay, my focus is narrow, I narrow my focus on what do I need to do? What is the best thing that I need to do to help myself to survive the situation? And I get you may not want to continue with me on this way. And some people are not supposed to be with you for the entire journey. Some people are supposed to go with you a quarter of a mile. Some people are going to go all the way. And some people, they stop at a half. And that's okay. Either you let them go or they let you go. But that's okay. Because that's your journey, and everybody is not meant to come. And so it's a different kind of perspective, because I know that was the same for my mom. There are a lot of people who had strong opinions on what she should do, and I don't think you're doing the right thing. But at the end of the day, you have to step back and respect that ultimately that is that person's decision. As a therapist, I say often to clients, it's 100% your decision. The reason that I say that is twofold. It's for them to recognize and empower them that it's your decision, but also it's a reminder to me. I'm not having to deal with the ultimate consequences of whatever decision somebody else makes. So how much then say should I then have in what decision they make? I can support you, I can encourage you, I can be there, and I can hold your hand. But at the end of the day, it really is 100% your decision. And I think sometimes people sometimes forget that. And like I said, I think a lot of it is based on fear, but there's a lot of love in it, but fear nonetheless.
Yeah. Well, Nicolette Clark with Ports International, you revealed here just now that you have experienced this in terms of your family member. Tell us more about Ports and your your role in what you do there and your perspective on the fight against breast cancer.
Okay, Ports International. We are one of the leading medical supplies company in the Bahamas. We've been in existence for the past 35 plus years. What we do is we supply, basically, like Dr. Hutchison said, the supplies needed for persons who are going through this whole ordeal with battling cancer. We supply the porticats, the gripper needles. We also have, she mentioned lymphedema, so we have the garments for that. That helps, to alleviate the symptoms of the lymphedema. And so my role is I am one of the leading salespersons there. I manage the Shirley Street location. We have 2 locations. Our head office is located in Airport Industrial Park, and we have 2 retail stores, One is in the Airport Industrial Park as well, and then our second location is on Shirley Street, right opposite PMH Hospital.
Having this situation with your sister, has that brought a new perspective to you with all of this?
It did, because it makes you more sympathetic towards person who are going through the situation. I know, it was one experience having to deal with customers coming in and asking you for supplies and questioning you. Sometimes they ask you questions they don't even want to ask their doctors. Wow. And then the script flipped for me when my sister called one day and she said, the doctor is saying, I have cancer. And now, so here I am now having to offer support to her as a sister. And then that came after a blow to my family because we lost our mother not so long ago suddenly. And so when she called, it was like, let's gather the tribe. I have a very large family. So I had to gather the tribe and say, we got to go. We have to be there for her. And when Pastor mentioned that you don't take over, I smiled because I think I took over for a minute. And it was like, you're going to do this and you have to do that. I was so used to, dealing with persons daily who would come in and, talk about their experience or ask questions that I figured I knew what to do. And then it got to the point where I had to take a step back and say, this is her ordeal. And I realized it after the doctor office was calling me and not her. And I had to ask, I said, did you call the patient? And they were like, no. And I said, something, I think you need to hang up this phone and call the patient. I'm not the patient. Wow. So at that point I said, something, let me step back. And I asked her, what do you want to do?
Yeah, my goodness, wow. Dr. Steph, so were there things that people were doing that you just say, well, why are you doing this? I don't know. Don't do this. Or were there things you liked or wished that people would do for you?
Actually, I had a pretty good experience both times. As you were asking me that question, I was trying to think, did anybody ever do anything? Oh, yes, they did. Yes. Now it came. Most people were really, really supportive, but there were some people, I called them the food police. Oh, you shouldn't be eating that. Because I was eating a cupcake. I'm like, it's a cupcake. Yes, I have cancer, but I can have a cupcake. It's okay. You're like, no sugar. No sugar, none of this stuff. So I just remember...
did it really bother you, or was it just...
It did, because it was almost... I think, in a way, it's almost like, well, you are going to cause it to get worse because of this. And I mean, like changing diet was a big issue. The first time I fell off the wagon, let the wagon run over me until I got back up on the wagon. The second diagnosis, it started to eat better. But yeah, the wagon ran over me. I just ate all manner of nonsense. But during the treatment, there were times where, I just wanted to treat myself.
Yeah.
When I had chemotherapy the first time, after the second diagnosis, do you know what I did? I went to Cheesecake Factory and had meatloaf and mashed potatoes because that's what I wanted.
Right.
And so, and my family supported that. I had a wonderful, wonderful tribe. They were with me at every appointment, calls, texts. It was that supportive experience. And sometimes you don't think about how it affects siblings. I probably should have asked one of my siblings to come on to think about how does it affect siblings to have someone that you grew up with, your first playmate, be diagnosed with breast cancer. But for the most part, yeah, you can speak to that, yeah. For the most part, my tribe, and like I said, I called them my tribe. My tribe was a good support. It was a good community to come alongside me on the journey. And I think they pretty much respected the positions of the physicians because they heard it with me. I had like 5 or 6 people in the consultation room at my first appointment. And we recorded it. So everybody was asking questions. Wow. And so, but that's how I work. Other people might have a smaller tribe and they may not want all of that involvement. But that worked for me, and so that's how I got through it.
Yeah. Nicolette, you wanted to say?
No, she referenced having your siblings go deal with you going through that process. And I can speak to it, having my sister go through this whole ordeal. And it's scary. It's very scary. And one of the things we questioned in our family was, where did it come from? Because, like I said, I have a very large family. I have 6 sisters. And she is, the one before the last, because I'm the last, so she's the sister right before me. And, no sister was ever diagnosed. My mother was never diagnosed. So we questioned, where did it come from? And so it makes you now think that, you cannot look at basically just your family history. It's a whole wider scope. And so the support, I must say, like I said, we have a very large family, and the support system was there every step of the way. And I think she appreciated a whole lot having, your family there. And you talk about your tribe. We were her tribe. Yeah. She didn't have to go outside of blood to find her tribe, because we were there every step of the way. Taking her to doctor appointments, we accompanied her. When it was in the sisters, it went even as far as nieces, having her nieces there with her. And I think she appreciated that a whole lot.
Yeah. Well, we need to take a break. When we come back, more advice for people who are going through this, people who've been diagnosed, and family members and friends, what they need to do or should be doing. It takes a village. That's what we're talking about here, fighting breast cancer. This is Morning Blend on Guardian Radio 96.9. Stay with us.
We know how important collecting your money can be to the success of your business. Start your relationship with Fidelity today so that we can show you the many options available to you with our merchant services. From click and pay options online to merchant terminals and e-commerce options. We're here to help your business succeed. For more details, speak to one of our business development officers at 356-7764 in Nassau or 352-6676 in Freeport. Visit our website at fidelitygroup.com or visit any of our branches.
With BTC. Did you get the speed bump? All BTC subscribers with a bundled fiber connection receive the speed increase. Totally free and totally automatic. It's just another way of ensuring that we are delivering best value to our customers, keeping them on the leading edge of everything awesome. Link up with BTC to get your speed bump today. Visit any BTC store or btcbahamas.com to learn more.
With all the fiber you need, link up.
Do you want a chance to win one of 5 Yamaha Kryptonite scooters? Do you like the great taste of Frito-Lay chips? Well, all you have to do is purchase chips like Lay's, Doritos, and Cheetos at your favorite grocery store, and you can enter to win thanks to Frito-Lay and Island Wholesale Scooter Giveaway Promotion. Want to know more? Join us at Super Value Mackey Street, October 29th, this Saturday from 1 to 3 p.m. for a chance to play Island Wholesale Shoot and Win game for instant prizes and a chance to win one of 5 Yamaha scooters. Frito-Lay, distributed by Island Wholesale.
Don't want to wait until Thanksgiving or Christmas to remodel? You're in luck. Nassau Tile is having a pre-holiday sale from October 24th to the 29th. You can save 25% off ceramic tiles and 20% off store-wide on tiles, thin-set, grout, and mosaics. We have the best tile experts ready to help you select the right tiles for your kitchen, backsplash, living room, bathroom, or patio. Visit our showroom at 43 Dowswell Street and save big with Nassau Tile.
Wake up, it's a new day.
Breakfast just got better at Wendy's. Introducing the Breakfast Piggy Bag. Enjoy a double sausage muffin with 2 square sausage patties, a freshly cracked egg, and cheese served on a toasted English muffin, a medium waffle fries, and an orange juice for only $5.25, fat inclusive. And an apple pie for just $1 more. Say what? At Wendy's, better breakfast is all day. Offers valid in participating locations. Wendy's, different inside and out.
I just link up with this beautiful young lady, and she say she in love with me. She say even my internet making sense. When she come over, she say my signal strong, my movies ain't glitching, and when she use her computer, everything was smooth. The only problem is, I let her meet me by my boy house that day, and he got that BTC Fiber Internet speed bump.
Current fiber internet bundle customers now have as much as 3 times the speed. Totally free. Link up with BTC. Link up.
Earning zero interest on your savings at the bank? With as little as $100, you can start earning interest on your money while you're sleeping, eating, or standing in line at the bank with the CFAL Savings Express Plan. Ready to invest? Start by putting $1,000 into our mutual funds and earn interest there too. Because at CFAL, your interest is our interest. Visit cfal.com to start now. CFAL, growing wealth for future generations of Bahamians.
Are you an attorney with a joint practice operating from one location? Accepting payments from clients doesn't have to be complicated.
Introducing RBC MultiPay. Now each attorney can securely accept and settle payments with one point-of-sale device supporting multiple bank accounts.
With competitive pricing, training, and easy setup, you will be up and running in no time.
Call 356-8500 to sign up for
RBC
MultiPay.
Everybody's been there, everybody's been stared down by the enemy. Falling for the fear and dancing, disappearing, bow down to the mighty. Don't run, just stop holding your tongue. Maybe there's a way out of the cage where you live. Maybe one of these days you can let the light in and show me how big and brave is. Say what you wanna say and let the words fall out. Honestly, I wanna see you be brave with what you wanna say.
We are back here with Morning Blend, Guardian Radio 96.9. Dwight Strong along with Stephen Hanna. We've got a special edition of Morning Blend here. We are talking with Pink Elephant in the Room, presents It Takes a Village, talking about the support needed in the fight against breast cancer. We've got a full studio. We've got Dr. Stephanie Hutchison, Yvette Elliott, Pastor Joshua Sands, Nicolette Clark, and having a great conversation off air as well. You revealed, Stephanie, I didn't know this, that you were, the first time you were diagnosed, you were very young.
Yes, I had just turned 30, so it was like 3 months after my 30th birthday. So that means the cancer was there when I was at 29.
Yeah.
And it was still early. It was still like a stage 1, I think. So it was still early. It was a small cancer, a small tumor. And so I was 30 years old. And as I was mentioning, my connection with Pastor Josh is that I was living in Atlanta at the time, doing my internship at Emory, Emory Grady. And he was my pastor. So he was my spiritual support.
Wow.
He was practical support because when my mother came, as mothers do, my one good mother, who's now passed away, Marion Hutchison. She knew her from A.F. Adderley because he used to be, was it Guidance, and she was in home ec. And so they had a wonderful reunion around my illness, and he took her everywhere she needed to go. I have to say this. My mother, he took her to the supermarket one time. This is in the realm of support. My mother said she only needed a couple of things. We waited in the car. She came up with a trolley.
Wow.
Full. But she also got some stuff for Josh because that's who she was. She got a little something for him and his family. But it was so wonderful to have that connection.
Yeah.
And I just met him. So he was my pastor and my little church family. They really supported me in practical ways, but also in spiritual ways. So you keep hearing this theme of support. I think it's so important because I don't think anyone should have to go through this journey alone.
And you're saying he drove you
Yes,
to
he did. He did.
therapy?
He took me because I had my first chemotherapy. You took me, and then I remember when I had the second surgery because the first surgery was when they determined it was cancer, and then they had to go back in.
That's right.
The lymph nodes, and I think they didn't discharge me until like that night, and he stayed there all day with my mother, and all night. And he even ate my food because I couldn't eat it, so he ate my dinner.
Wow. What a
I remember
memory.
all of that. Yes.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
So we were talking about this, the BRCA gene. We know that so many Bahamians have this, and that is resulting in, we're seeing that breast cancer occurs in Bahamians at a much younger age than almost anywhere else in the world.
From what the research that was done, I think it was the University of Miami and some of the local oncologists, that there is a high rate of the BRCA, the BRCA gene, and they did test a sample of women here and found out, that's how I found out that I do have the BRCA gene, and that is in families. And so when you have that, you're at a higher risk for developing not just breast cancer, but also prostate cancer in men.
So if the women in your family have it, men are at higher risk.
And so men are at higher risk if they have the gene of developing prostate cancer. So these are the things that we're finding out. And that's why you see breast cancer diagnosed so young in the Bahamas, because of what they're finding in terms of the rate of it in the village. We talked about the village. It's not just it takes a village, but this is in the village. So the village needs to come together to support those.
Yeah. Wow. All right. So we will have a few minutes left. Let's hear from everybody about what you think people need to keep in mind. We know we pay a lot of attention in October to breast cancer, but we need to, of course, all year round be thinking about this and all the other cancers and all the other illnesses that people can be afflicted with. But what advice would you give, Yvette?
Well, I mean, speaking as a therapist, I think my advice would be, as we're talking about it takes a village, recognizing that you would need that support system and finding a therapist, finding somebody who can assist you in dealing with those things, somebody who is not emotionally invested in your situation and is on the outside of the frame and can help you to find that place where whatever those things are that you're feeling, whatever those emotions are, you get to release those without concern, without judgment, and know that it stays here. And, whatever those thoughts and feelings that you're having, because that's also a part of it. You don't want to be holding in any kind of negativity, any of that fear, whatever those concerns are, because while you're having to be shielded and guarded and on alert to fight this fight, there are moments when you're going to struggle and you're going to have challenges, and you need to know that there's somebody there who can support you and who is able to listen without being emotionally caught up in that situation. So from my perspective, I would say, for anyone who is in that kind of situation and struggling, find that kind of support. Find a support system where you can express yourself, say exactly what's going on with you, and have somebody who is helping to hold your hand and guide you through that process.
Yeah. Pastor Josh?
Yes, the term support is sometimes a misnomer, because people think that when you offer support, they'll say, I don't need your charity, I don't need your help, I want to do it myself. Well, no man is an island, and if that's true for men, it's even also more so true for someone under the burden of what's termed a terminal illness. When you mentioned Atlanta, let me just give a shout out to those in Atlanta listening to 96.9 today, who remember Stephanie when our church, when we were living in Atlanta. Because the village stretches around the world. It's not just the Bahamas. If you look at what's going on in the world, if you want to offer support, I would say to people, the first thing you need to do is be informed. Find out what's going on. See what's happening in other places. Find out how others are dealing with cancer, and in particular breast cancer, because women need support. Secondly, be able to give the support of what's needed. Don't go in there with your Bible lined in red and say, well, we're going to have a prayer meeting today. Well, that may not be what they need. But if they do need it, then you pray, and you help them to pray. And when a person finally gives up, and I've dealt with many people who have given up. Thankfully, my wife never gave up. In fact, she encouraged me. And I would want to say to you, when you find yourself under the gun of a diagnosis. We always said it's a diagnosis. You don't have cancer. You've been diagnosed with it. Wow. And so we treated it as a diagnosis. And so we've worked with it together, coming in agreement. Amos 3:3, two cannot walk together except they agree. You must come in agreement with the person you're trying to help. and help them to understand that they must decide what it is. If they don't own it, then it does not work. I can't project it onto a person, no matter how much I know, how much I care. But consistent help, and I was just reminded, I didn't realize we did all of that. You did? Oh, my goodness. But sometimes you have to do what's needed at that time. And so I would just say to people, if I would say one last thing. So I heard this somewhere. Someone said it's not the moment of how many breaths you take, but the amount of moments that take your breath away. And it's those things that make you stand and wonder at someone going through surgery and coming out of it. And 23 years later, Dr. Hutchinson's, my friend Stephanie, she is not only a survivor, but a thriver. Lynette, third grade teacher at St. Anne's, she's teaching right now. But she is surviving and thriving and trying to help others. So get out of yourself, help someone else, try to learn all you can. Get good advice, by the way. Not everybody's had good advice, but you got to, particularly after this pandemic, there are all kinds of charlatans and people trying to give advice, tell you what to do. But make sure it's supported by organized groups, and of course we've heard about some of them today, Sister, and of course ports and churches, and please, those of you who are in churches, do not stigmatize people with cancer. Do not look down on them. Don't talk down to them, because they are simply going through a different type of stress. Everybody has a stress. Everybody's going to have a test of one kind or another. So that's their test. Walk with them, help them, and what is it? The word tells us, love one another as Christ loved us. Help them bear that burden.
Yeah, wow, well said, Nicolette.
Okay, just to reiterate basically what was said already, you find that support group, you pray, you find those who are going to walk this journey with you, who are going to push you to not give up, like Pastor just said. And I want to also encourage persons to get tested. Early detection is the key. So this month being Breast Cancer Awareness Month, go in and have your mammograms done. Yeah. There's no shame in the game. There is no shying away. And like Dr. Hutchinson said, it's in the village. So you have a village to support you. We're here. Sister, like Pastor mentioned, they're here as well. We really support and we stand behind persons who in the support of the fight against breast cancer. Ports International was founded by a woman, Ms. Callan Pappy. So because it was founded by a woman, I think, and this is my perspective on it, is that we stand behind it so much and it's predominantly women in the company. So we know, we know. And so I say that to say, and if you find yourself being diagnosed with breast cancer, yes, we're here. We're not only here for supplies, but we do offer support as well. So.
Go ahead. And Stephanie, you have the final word, and remind us about
final word.
Sunday as well.
Oh, say about Sunday?
Remind us about Sunday.
Okay, Sunday. My last word kind of relates to Sunday, because I think one of the things about mammograms, as Nicolette was mentioning, is that women are afraid that they're going to hear that word, you have breast cancer. My thing is, I understand the fear and anxiety, but I say go anyway, even if you're anxious. That's why we have the program that we're launching on Sunday, Bosom Buddies, so that individuals can support women to get their mammograms, even if they're anxious. Take a buddy with you. Let them help you to make the appointment. Let them encourage you to do that, to go with them, so that if perchance it's the words you don't want to hear, it's early detection. Mm-hmm. And so that's what the thrust of Bosom Buddies is, to encourage support for women to get their mammograms so that they can take charge of their health. We launch on Sunday, October 30. Opening ceremonies are at 10 a.m. at the J. Whitney Pinder Building on Collins Avenue. And the wonderful thing about this program is that I have some corporate buddies who, unsolicited, just came alongside me, talk about support. When I was getting my hair did and getting my face done, and I was telling them, Skinistry Aesthetic, I'm going to give a shout out. Skinistry Aesthetic Laser Studios and Beauty by Becca both said, unsolicited, I'll pay for 10 mammograms. Wow. I'll pay for it. So we have funding, which wasn't even an original part of Bosom Buddies. We have funding to provide women who have never had a mammogram or who can't afford it to be able to get a mammogram for free at Doctor's Hospital. But you got to register. You can't just show up at Doctor's Hospital and say, I come in to get one of them Bosom Buddies. No. You have to register through Bosom Buddies, and you can post it on your webpage.
Sure.
And they can register to just learn more about mammograms, to have the information to be aware about what happens with a mammogram so that they can get their screening, so that they can take charge of their health and support each other. So early detection. Join us on Sunday, 10 a.m. Seats are limited, so get there early. Bosom Buddies launches Sunday.
Excellent. Thank you for organizing this conversation. People
Thank
are
you.
messaging me and telling me their stories I didn't know about their mothers and their sisters and their wives, and it really is affecting the whole village. But Pastor Josh, what you said people are really repeating that. You've been diagnosed. You don't have cancer. You've just been diagnosed with it, right? Thank you all for being here this morning. Dr. Stephanie Hutchison, Yvette Elliott, Pastor Joshua Sands, and Nicolette Clark. Thank you for this discussion. Appreciate it.
Thank you for having us.
All right, we're going to take a break and be back with Morning Blend Business. Stay with us.
What you wanna say, and let the words fall out. Honestly, I wanna see you be brave. Just wanna see you. I just wanna see you. Just wanna see you.
This is Guardian Radio 96.9 FM, Nassau, Bahamas.
The views and opinions of the host and guests are their own and do not necessarily reflect the position of the management and staff of Guardian Network.
Wake up, it's a new day. Wake up, it's a new day.
Good morning and welcome to Morning Blend Business on this Friday, October 28th, 2022. Welcome back to our Morning Blend listeners. Once again, I'm Dwight Strachan along with Stephen Hanna. And this morning we wrap up our special Safe and Sound series on on cyber awareness, cybersecurity awareness, Cybersecurity Awareness Month. And today we're going to be talking about cryptocurrency use in ransomware. Joining us as he has throughout the whole series here from Preventative Measures, Gamal Nuri. And we have a special guest from Blockchain Intelligence Group, William Callahan. Gentlemen, good morning. Great to have you with us on the show this morning.
Good morning, Dwight. Good morning, Bahamas. Good to be here.
For those of us who don't know who you are, could you tell us a little bit about yourself? That was a joke, because he's always...
Okay.
He's on.
William Callahan, are you there?
Yeah, good morning, Dwight.
Good morning. Great to have you with us. All right. So, as we said this morning, we're going to be talking about cryptocurrency use in ransomware. So before we get into, William, what your company's all about, and what your group is all about, let's get some definitions about cryptocurrency and ransomware. So let's begin with that.
Sure. Well, thanks for having me today, this morning here. It's a pleasure to be calling into the Bahamas and to join you. So what you asked for was cryptocurrency, right? Cryptocurrency is a digital form of value. Most people are familiar with cryptocurrencies like Bitcoin, Ethereum, and then some other coins as well, probably less of a market cap. You have privacy coins, you have other crypto coins and different utility tokens. But for the purposes of pretty much for ransomware, what we've seen is the use of Bitcoin for ransomware. Bitcoin is like I said, it's a digital currency. The value comes from the community of users. And basically, it's a way to transfer value over the internet, over the computer, so internet money, and then could be cashed out either at a centralized exchange, could be cashed out at a Bitcoin ATM, or transferred to somebody else and cashed out for what we call fiat currency, meaning the currency that the dollars and coins that you have in your pocket.
Okay. All right. So when we talk about ransomware, what do we mean?
Yeah, so ransomware. So basically, it's a threat. It's a form of it's criminal activity where basically somebody, a hacking group, a foreign actor, gets control of your computer systems and basically says, "We're going to take over your system. We're going to release data. We're going to tie up your computers for an extended period of time, unless you pay us. And to pay us, we want you to pay us in cryptocurrency." Make a transfer of X amount of dollars in crypto to this wallet address that the illicit actor, the bad guys, will give to the victim, and expect payment to be made, and then they will release, basically give back the computer system to the victim.
Yeah, and we've been talking about this, Gamal, throughout these past few weeks. This is happening. A lot of people are hacking a lot more frequently. How do we have any numbers, any figures as to how common this is here in the Bahamas and globally?
Well, unfortunately, we don't have any true register here in the Bahamas that will be able to give us a numbering of what's happening. But we know that it has been happening with several entities. But again, it goes back to the need for disclosure or the ability to disclose what's happening. But globally, and I'm sure Bill can speak to that in more detail, it's a very big, I guess for lack of a better word, a very big industry globally. So Bill, you could speak to the global, how it's impacting the global platform?
Yeah, sure, Gamal. Ransomware in 2021 was basically a $20 billion industry.
My goodness.
That's worldwide. It's estimated in 2021 that 37% of all businesses, organizations were hit by ransomware. And again, the level.
What was that percentage again?
About 37%.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, and it costs for businesses to recover from a ransomware attack. You could be talking the hundreds of thousands to $1 million range to recover from that attack, to put the systems back in order. So we've seen a lot of it goes unreported. For a long time it went unreported. The companies or insurance would just pay the ransomware, would pay out to the attacker, because it had been cheaper to do that.
Is that number inclusive of the amount paid and the amount needed to recover your system? If you have to, certainly you have to invest now in perhaps new security infrastructure, new processes. So is that number specific to amount paid out, or is that encompassing the entire impact to a company's bottom line?
I'm believing that number is, how much in ransomware was paid out, or what it costs, $20 billion. But you're right. Implementing security features is just another cost here that has to be included in this equation of how to prevent and how to protect yourself from ransomware.
Yeah. So is cryptocurrency usually the what folks are demanding when they do this, or what are we seeing? What are the trends, and why would they say cryptocurrency as opposed to?
Yeah. So right. No, it's a great question. So using cryptocurrency for a couple of reasons. That they are using this. One, cryptocurrency is not anonymous, and that's something that people believe, that it's an anonymous form of payment. It's pseudonymous. So, the attacker can take some steps to try to hide their identity. They do this by using different mechanisms to launder the money, to cash out the money. But what we're seeing really is this is not, something where somebody is doing. It's not individuals per se. These are well-organized, coordinated attacks. In particular, the North Koreans are organized. This is a way that they fund their government. This is a way they fund their missile systems. This is a way they fund their further illicit activity, and they evade sanctions by using cryptocurrency. Some of the groups that we've been able to identify, and we identify them through different means. One is, the type of software they use or the type of laundering methods, the type of cryptos that they ask for. Most of it, yes, that we've seen the gas is done in cryptocurrency, done in Bitcoin, because Bitcoin, while it has the largest market cap, there's security in Bitcoin, there's liquidity, you can cash out, you can trade it. When you have other organizations assisting in the laundering process, they're willing to buy that crypto for maybe the local currency or trade off for things that are needed in a place like North Korea that sanctions have put a hold on getting there.
Mm-hmm. Are there any types of industries or companies that are at greater risk for being attacked, being hacked?
It seems like it runs the gamut from private businesses to public governments, schools. We just saw an attack in the LA County school system, I believe, not too long ago. One interesting attack that happened here last year, where there was a recent arrest made, an attack on U.S. hospitals. When you think about ransomware attacks, you think about some sort of business and will shut down your computers and affect the business. But in this instance, a number of hospitals were attacked, which affected services, affected getting medical care, medical records, surgeries had to be canceled because they attacked a few hospitals.
What about, I guess, smaller persons who feel like, well, my business is so small, I don't think that anybody is going to waste time trying to take over my business. I don't make over $2 million a year. Like, what about those? Should they also be worried about this type of activity?
Well, I mean, yes, I think all businesses and need to be aware and need to practice, good cybersecurity, have a plan in place, talk to their insurance companies, and even talk to their local law enforcement. What happens if there is a cyber attack? How do I report that attack to my local authorities, and what resources do the local authorities have?
Yeah, so it's not just the big boys. No. All right.
Right.
So what can be done? What happens? What is the best course? We talked about this before on the show, that often it's recommended that you don't pay the ransom. You don't do this, because that will only encourage people to do more. So what do you do?
Right. Well, from where I standpoint, my view of the world from Blockchain Intelligence Group, we are a cryptocurrency blockchain forensic analysis company.
Wow.
So we don't necessarily look at the cybersecurity side of a ransomware attack. So I'm probably not in the best position to tell you pay or not to pay. Okay. That is something you really need to sit down, I guess, with your local security and look at your local laws, what you can and cannot do. Here in the U.S., North Korea, these groups are sanctioned. But if you get hit by a ransomware attack, you don't report it, you pay. Are you violating sanctions by paying a North Korean cyber attack, cyber gang? So that's something that has to be of concern. But on the other side, there's the investigation side, right? And this is what cybersecurity firms are working on. This is something, in the Bahamas, preventative measures is addressing. And the side that we're addressing here at Blockchain Intelligence Group is that flow of currency, right? When the payment is made or when you receive that wallet address, right? The attacker is going to send you this ransomware message saying you need to pay us this amount and send it to this wallet. What we've developed is software that tracks and traces the flow of the funds, tracks and traces it through different wallets, maybe different exchanges, and allows law enforcement then to quickly identify where those funds have gone to and where the law enforcement can go and try to get some information, be it a centralized exchange, maybe somewhere else that it went to, maybe start to identify patterns of behavior. Again, I spent a career in law enforcement, federal law enforcement here in the United States. What I always looked at when I looked at any sort of money launderer, narcotics dealer, I was looking at their patterns of behavior so I can identify some trends and where to go, where am I going to get more information, that I can identify who that person is, and then ultimately build evidence to arrest and prosecute.
Wow. So, I mean, would companies admit it? Do we know of any companies who didn't do anything and they lost everything? Is that usually kept top secret?
So it's a good thing, a good question, because it's gone unreported for so long, right? Which really brought this to light was the recent attack at the northeast of the U.S. Colonial Pipeline, if you recall that. Basically, that was a company where all of the oil flows through from all throughout the northeast into the south. Gas stations were closing, people were hoarding fuel. We tracked and traced the flow of the currency that was actually paid, and the FBI investigated it, and eventually they were able to seize some of that money back from the attacker.
Okay. All right. So that is the usual way it works.
So when you say the usual way, I think there are probably many different ways it works. I think a lot of it has gone unreported. Payments were made and forgotten about. Some new laws, the increased capacity of law enforcement to investigate these crimes has now led to more and more investigations going on, I believe. The last few years here in the U.S. and globally, law enforcement have taken advantage of training opportunities, such as an opportunity provided by a blockchain intelligence group to learn how to investigate cryptocurrency, and then to use the tools that are offered by a company like ours to actually sit down and visually track and trace it. When I was supervising these types of investigations, investigators had to download spreadsheets, Excel spreadsheets. It was very painful. It was very time consuming. Now, basically, they can build within a few minutes a flow chart to see the flow of the currency, to see what possibly these wallets have touched, other wallets that it has touched, and then it provides some leads for the investigator to go to and, again, try to identify the perpetrators behind this attack.
Stephen, you were...
Oh, no, I was going to ask, for the persons who have paid, like, have there been any instances where, because I know earlier you were saying that for example, if there's a larger country behind it that's doing an embargo or perhaps
some sanctions.
Yeah, sanctions there's sanctions against a country or whomever the person is who's doing this in the background. Have there been instances where because a person has paid the ransom, didn't report it, and then it comes to light, that you've been giving money to this shady organization? Have there been repercussions to those persons who might just say, I had to just pay the $50,000 or the $100,000 or whatever it is, end this right now, but then sometime later, charges brought up against them or something comes up?
Right. I cannot think of any off the top of my head right now that's happened. I think it's an interesting question we'll eventually have to face.
But is that a possibility where like you're basically funding either like a foreign power or maybe a secret drug cartel somewhere unbeknownst to you because you just wanted to get your business back? Like, could that possibly be charges brought up against you as the company?
Right, absolutely. Is it happening where payments have been made and it's been going to sanctioned entities or other criminal entities? Yes, that's been happening. Will there be charges brought? That's something I'm not sure of right now. You know, if a company is in that position, they can apply for basically a license from OFAC to make that payment. But there's a process to do that. They may be working with law enforcement. It may be the best interest. You know, again, a public safety measure. The ransomware attack I spoke about, the hospitals.
Right.
You know, these were hospitals in the Midwest and throughout the country. Actually, a number of hospitals throughout the country. You know, how do you keep a hospital shut down? So, you know, there's some things to weigh here, right? Public safety. And it also that goes with the intent, right? If you're a business, you know, you want to get up and running, you have this wallet address, really don't understand where the money's going to. You didn't intend on sending money to a North Korean sanctioned organization. You just need to get your business back up and running. So do I see the government coming after those types of folks? Not probably, with a warning not to do this, or I think there's been more education lately about where this money's going to.
All right, we're going to take a break. When we come back, we'll have more with William Callahan and learn more about Blockchain Intelligence Group, and Gamal Nuri with Preventative Measures. We're talking about cryptocurrency use in ransomware, a global perspective, in our Safe and Sound series, wrapping up our month-long discussion about Cybersecurity Awareness Month. And we'll be back with more Morning Blend after these messages here on Guardian Radio 96.9.
Hey Lisa, I heard Fidelity's free Women Plus seminar is back.
Oh yes it is. My ladies and I are ready to go.
Well, I heard it's open for men too, so my crew and I will be there.
The highly anticipated free Fidelity Women Plus seminar will be held on Saturday, October 29th at the Bahamas Convention Center as we explore solutions towards achieving financial freedom.
The Women's Plus seminar is free and includes breakfast, 8 sessions, plus over $8,000 in prizes and surprises. Registration and breakfast begin at 8 a.m. with sessions from 9:30 a.m. to 2 p.m.
Space is limited, so register now for free at fbbwomanplus.com.
Wherever you're headed, the Custom Computers Know-How team is standing by to help guide you in the East and the West. We now have 2 convenient locations on Patton Street in Palmdale and our newest store in the Caves Village Shopping Plaza through the Blake Road entrance. Discover the latest products by top international brands and the knowledge you need to unleash tomorrow's technology today. Drop by Custom Computers out east or out west. We're open Saturdays from 10 till 4.
Access Accelerator Small Business Development Center is here to help small businesses throughout the entire Bahamas. To better serve you, we've made it easier to contact us. Call 461-7232, WhatsApp 359-0626 or 359-2394, mail helpdesk@spdcbahamas.com, or submit a ticket when you visit our help center at accessaccelerator.org. The Access Accelerator, empowering small business.
Ready to save? You can put $100 into the CFAL Savings Express Plan and make sure your money keeps growing. Earn interest on your savings while you're sleeping, eating, or standing in line at the bank. Ready to invest? Start by putting $1,000 into our mutual funds and earn interest there too. Because at CFAL, your interest is our interest. Visit cfal.com to start now. CFAL, growing wealth for future generations of Bahamians.
It is time for your morning business report, brought to you by CFAL, calling the issues trivial and technical that result in the Bahamas being considered non-compliant under the Common Reporting Standard. Attorney General Ryan Pinder says that the former Minutes administration corrected the legislative deficiencies identified in the last peer review. Now, had they done that, the country could have avoided having its reputation tarnished. The last OECD Global Forum peer review of the Bahamas' commitment to the automatic exchange of information under the Common Reporting Standard was conducted in 2020 and 2021. The review period was determined that although the Bahamas met the required standards, technical deficiencies deemed the jurisdiction non-compliant. You can read more about what he had to say in today's Guardian Business section. As it strives to keep pace with evolving international practices, the government intends to soon pass into law new regulations to combat financial crimes conducted through wire transfers. Attorney General Pinder saying that they finalized the financial transactions reporting wire transfers amendment regulations that will soon go to cabinet and be executed into law. He says the regulations keep pace with the ever-changing framework of AML rules in the digital asset space by setting a framework to implement the travel rule, and that the travel rule prescribes how financial institutions should implement a variety of policies and procedures to combat wire transfer-related financial crime. The Access Accelerated Small Business Development Center and the Ministry of Agriculture, Marine Resources, and Family Island Affairs initiating a grant that will give a boost to farmers who want to implement climate-smart technology into their businesses. Agriculture Minister Clay Sweeting, who announced the new incentive for farmers yesterday, saying that the new grant was born out of a sustainable food growth grant when it was realized that those growers looking for funds to implement climate-smart technology should be part of a separate grant program. Sweeting's ministry and the SBDC launched the Climate Smart Technology Encouragement Act as a result of that. And it could take Apico Big Bird Poultry Farm another 2 years to get its production back to levels it enjoyed before Hurricane Dorian hit Apico more than 3 years ago. That's according to the farm's manager of operations, Lance Pinder. He says that Apico Big Bird once supplied 5% of locally consumed chicken. According to Pinder, right now the farm can only produce about 500,000 pounds of chicken per year as a result of losses suffered via Dorian, whereas before the farm pushed out 2.5 million pounds of chicken. Pinder says the operation is now seeking to add a breeder flock to the farm in order to improve sustainability of its product, as well as sustain other smaller farms in the country. Overseas, Elon Musk has taken control of Twitter after a protracted legal battle and months of uncertainty. The question now is what the billionaire Tesla CEO will actually do with the social media platform. The New York Stock Exchange began the process today to delist Twitter. That means everyday investors will no longer be able to buy and sell stock in the company, and Twitter would no longer be required to publicly reveal details of its quarterly or annual financial performance with U.S. regulators. Musk ousted 3 top Twitter executives on Thursday, according to 2 people familiar with the deal. Such a shakeup was widely expected, but Musk has otherwise made contradictory statements about his vision for the company and shared few concrete plans on how he will run it. That's left Twitter users, advertisers, and employees to parse his every move in an effort to guess where he might take the company. Many are looking to see if he will welcome back a number of influential conservative figures banned for violating Twitter's rules, and speculation that is only heightened by upcoming elections in Brazil, the U.S., and elsewhere. In your Market Watch, recapping trading on the BISX from Thursday, your market moving 400 shares, closing unchanged at 1138. Consolidated Water up 6 cents, closing at 353. Emira Incorporated unchanged at 924. The BISX All Share Index closing at 2,624.81, up 0.06. That's your Market Watch, and that is your morning business report brought to you by CFAL, growing wealth for future generations.
This is Guardian Radio, 96.9 FM, Nassau, Bahamas.
I could lift you up. I could show you what you want to see and take you where you want to be.
You're listening to Morning Blend Business, brought to you in part by the Bahamas Wine and the BNT Wine and Art Festival and Sand Dollar. This weekend is the Bahamas National Trust Wine and Art Festival. Sample over 60 wines for an all-inclusive price of just $40 for BNT members and $50 for non-members. Sand Dollar digital payments, which will be powered by SunCash, will be one of 3 payment methods accepted at the gate. The first 500 people to pay with Sand Dollar will get $10 off their ticket. Also, the first 500 people to visit Sand Dollar's booth inside the festival will receive $10 top-up. If you don't have a Sand Dollar-enabled digital wallet already, download one before you get to the festival. Visit sanddollar.bs/getinvolved for a list of authorized digital wallet providers. And we are back here with the show this morning. It is our Safe and Sound series. We are talking with Kamal Nuri with Preventative Measures and William Callahan with Blockchain Intelligence Group, talking about cyber currency use and ransomware. All right, so William Callahan, tell us about your company, Blockchain Intelligence Group. How long have you been around, and what you've given us some hints already, but more exactly.
Blockchain Intelligence Group's been around for a little bit now. But basically, we are a cryptocurrency and blockchain forensic analytics company. We offer, I'd say, three things. One, for law enforcement investigators, that could be law firms that are doing investigations, private investigators who are investigating theft or illicit activity, or maybe even hidden assets of cryptocurrency. Well, we have a tool, a software called Clue, QLUE, Clue. And basically what Clue does for the investigator, some recent technology where we are pulling in data off the public blockchain. We are putting it into a nice visual graph so you can see the flow of currency. And then what we do to enhance that is we have a team of investigators who are out there pulling in outside data, open source data, basically, from court records or social media, and identifying illicit wallets that may be used in crime, drug trafficking, things like that. And then we're overlaying that into the public blockchain data. So law enforcement can get an idea, or investigators can get an idea. What as an investigator, a financial investigator, what we're looking for is, where did the money come onto the blockchain, and possibly where did it go off, or where's it sitting, right? And then that leads them to potential seizures. And then for financial institutions, what we'll do is transaction monitoring. So any sort of institution, and something to remember when you are dealing in crypto, you're kind of become your own bank. So you have to be aware of things like sanctions, dealing with illicit transactions. So what we're doing is identifying and basically risk scoring a transaction. So that way, if somebody is doing business and the financial institution or the business wants to do a little more due diligence on who they're dealing with, you'll be able to see, okay, has this wallet been in contact with the dark web? Has this wallet been in contact with maybe a sanctioned wallet? And you want to kind of mitigate risks associated with dealing with illicit actors and allowing them into your financial institutions or your businesses. And then for everybody, one of the things we do is we have some training, some online self-paced training called the Certified Cryptocurrency Investigator Training Course. The course that says self-paced, it probably takes, say to somebody who's an investigator, who understands, basic money laundering concepts, anti-money laundering concepts, maybe about 14 to 16 hours to complete. But again, it's self-paced. And that's how I basically got involved with the company, by looking at the training here and saying, this is what we were missing in law enforcement at the time. We didn't have these kind of formalized training sessions by outsiders. So it was pretty good to complete myself. And we have bankers, law enforcement, accountants, lawyers all over globally. We're building a global community, which has been great too. So if somebody has an issue, maybe in the Bahamas, and we have people in South Africa, the U.S., Canada, wherever it may be, in Asia, who would try to connect people with to other, we like to call ourselves the CCI community.
All right, so I can imagine that we're going to need a lot more people like you in this field, with the number of people who are taking part in illicit activities. Yeah,
it's an area. It's a growing area. Many people in traditional finance and AML and compliance have reached out and have taken this course because they see their institutions moving into crypto. And if their institutions aren't necessarily right away moving into crypto, their clients are involved in crypto. So they want a better understanding of what their clients are doing, how they can investigate it, how can they take a better look at it. So yeah, if you're in a financial institution and you're in the compliance, anti-money laundering, or your customer departments or units there, you definitely want to start getting a handle on what is crypto. I like to say, what is it? How do the bad guys use it? And and how do we investigate it? And what can we do? And that's what this training course provides.
Gamal, you look at you.
In your opinion, is, from what you're saying, it's a trend, we're moving to that. How far behind, or if far behind is the right term, is the good guys, the financial sector, law enforcement, how far behind either in regards to the hackers, those persons implementing ransomware?
As far as the capacity to attack it, Gamal, is that what you're asking?
Yes.
Yeah, I think we're catching up in law enforcement. Unfortunately, law enforcement's always going to be behind because like I like to say, the bad guys, they have all the resources in the world, right? They'll spend what they have to spend to commit crime. They don't honor jurisdictions like we do in borders, so they have that. They have the time. They have the time to study this stuff as well. So, there's always that little bit of a lag time. But I will say, at the federal level, at many of the major law enforcement agencies around the world, they are building their capacity. They're building the tools in their toolbox and the training. I'm starting to see state and local level more and more need for training and tools and getting involved. And that's always a resource issue as well. But there is some catching up. The agencies like the FBI, and the Brits, and Hong Kong police around the world, they have better understanding of ransomware and how to attack it. Look, with ransomware, a lot of it is education is key. Practicing good cybersecurity, however your company or agency teaches you that, but that's always important. But on the other end, it's there is. I look at this, right, when you get that wallet in a ransomware investigation. I mean, there's something there, right? You have a piece of data to start working with, and you need to start peeling away those layers of the onion to see where you're going to go, who's behind it, and see what you can identify.
Like that movie Catch Me If You Can, I think it was. Do you recruit bad guys to come over and show us the ways, teach us what you do and how you did it? Does that work like that?
So in government, when I was a special agent, I was with the Drug Enforcement Administration for my career. Yes, we developed informants to help us, right? To help us catch the bigger, the bigger and the worse of the bad guys there. Here, we work with a lot of really smart engineers to develop this software, to develop the processes that make it easy for the investigator to, when we've developed, right, we don't want the investigator having to do any coding or anything. We really want it to be point and click, right? Point at a wallet, click on it, and let it expand and see where you go from there.
Yeah.
So for financial institutions, right, because we're talking in one vein about law enforcement, but where to find out who, like you indicated earlier, they may not be directly involved with crypto, but they have clients who are now making these transactions, doing these transfers from one source of wealth to the other. How important is it for them to take advantage of the tools that are out there to investigate and prevent these types of incidents?
Right. Yes. No. It's a great question, and it's something as I said, when I got involved initially with Blockchain Intelligence Group with the training, I looked at it as, hey, this is something we're missing in law enforcement, and I need to get that message out to my colleagues out there about, hey, there's training available, there's tools available. To my surprise, this is almost a year and a half ago, I saw an influx of financial institutions coming to me because I had worked in that arena, with financial institutions. I also had talked to them about it. And, what I heard a lot was, well, our bank isn't doing crypto. But then I got the but, but our board is talking about it, but marketing is talking about it, but our clients are using it. That's what I get. And, the people in compliance and AML, due diligence, I mean, they're the ones that are looking forward, right? They're looking forward for where the landmines are. Where's the risk? They didn't understand what crypto was, how to investigate it, what the tools out there. So they started jumping on it. And I kind of saw, looking back, I said, I could have predicted some trends of institutions, trends of countries that were moving quickly into crypto. There was a lot of interest from the Middle East. And as we saw over the last year, places like the UAE, Dubai, even now Saudi Arabia starting to increase into crypto, wanting their banks to hold it, seeing the potential that it has. We're seeing that in the Africa region with opening up banking to the unbanked there. So, it's not enough to. It worries me when I talk to a compliance officer and they shake their hand and say, no, we don't do crypto. And do you have your ears on the pulse of the board? Because your board is probably talking about it. And are you going to wait until they come? Because again, the compliance people have to be on the forefront, right? They have to be on the forefront of identifying risk, identifying where those landmines are, and learning it ahead of time. And this is a great way to do it.
Yeah. We are talking with William Callahan with Blockchain Intelligence Group and Gamal Nuri with Preventative Measures, talking about cryptocurrency use in ransomware and getting a global perspective. If you have questions, give us a call, 323-6232, 325-4316, 325-4259. Tweet us, Facebook us, text us, 422-4796. Gamal.
Yes, and on that note, I just want to throw out a point on next week, Friday, Thursday and Friday, Blockchain Intelligence Group and Preventative Measures will be participating in the Caribbean Regional Compliance Association's annual conference, which is going to be held here in Nassau, Bahamas at Bahama. Oh, wow. So we're going to have a table where we'll have our information about preventative measures and blockchain, the Q products, and certainly the certified cryptocurrency investigator course. I will also be a speaker at that event next week, Friday, at 8:30. So I'll be talking about the same topic about ransomware and how it impacts the compliance issue. So shout out to the conference and Tobacco, the Bahamas Association of Compliance Officers, for having us, and we look forward to seeing you there.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Wow, that's exciting. So what can companies do if they are concerned about cryptocurrency and ransomware? What should they be doing right now? What are the best tips that you have for them?
Well, I think in both instances, you need to be preparing to look at preventative measures to prevent and I guess make your business more resilient, because it's going to happen. If it doesn't happen, like we talked about last week, if you're not a victim, it's coming. One way or the other, you're going to be associated with that. And then in the event, then you have the available tools that we're talking about now, where you can actually respond, and that's important. I think a lot of times, like William mentioned, we think crypto is this anonymous tool, but the blockchain does have a stamp. So there is a stamp there. There's the ability to track it. Mm-hmm. It could get confusing, but with products like Q, it's like it's user friendly. I want to say investigation. It really makes that process easier, because you're taking that data and you're now bringing it into a more user friendly world. Any ideas as well, Bill, about what should companies be doing from both sides, from preventing and also building up some type of response mechanism?
Right. Well, I think, like you said, I think to sum it up, it's a lot of education right now. Right. It's reading up on it, it's understanding, it's knowing the resources like Gamal, like preventative measures, right, to start talking to get ahead of the game. It's putting in place good cybersecurity policies, and then having that plan in place. What happens if you are hit? Okay, who do you call? I mean, it's not the time to start calling maybe your local police precinct, or find out now who's the unit. It's not going to be probably not going to be the street cop, right? The cop on the beat there. There's probably going to be a specialized unit you need to get to. So you want to cut down on that time, knowing who to go to, what are some of the resources. For education, Dwight, I should mention, I post very frequently on these topics on LinkedIn. That's where I post. In particular, I was, I posted something even about the hospitals. So if anybody wants to connect, follow, join me on LinkedIn. Just look for the one with the magnifying glass in front of the name, CALLAHAN. Please feel free to connect or follow. But I do post frequently about these topics, sometimes tidbits on how to take care of yourself in the crypto world here.
And so is it like measles? You get hit once, you pay the ransom, and like you won't be bothered again, or you just open yourself up for constant bullying, perhaps? Right? What are we seeing?
So again, not being on the actual ransomware, the cybersecurity side of the house, I mean, there is potential to get hit again, of course, that you could open yourself up to. But there are, again, measures to put in place that people do that protect themselves, usually so they don't get hit a second time.
Yeah.
Or if they do, they have ways to mitigate that risk.
Wow. All right. Final words as we wrap things up. What people need to be doing to prepare themselves for what might be the inevitable.
Well, I definitely think, like we said, definitely need to educate yourself, learn this, talk to who you're supplying your infrastructure. You want to see what you have in place currently, and you want to know about cryptocurrency. You definitely want to take a look at. Come visit us at blockchaingroup.io. And see the different services and tools available. We also definitely post blogs, and it's another area that you could learn, consult with people like Gamal and preventative measures. And yes, if you're in compliance or AML or this arena, please go see him next week as he talks about this there in the Bahamas. And just really connect and keep on top of what is going on. Hopefully that will save you a lot of trouble as far as your infrastructure, your computer infrastructure goes, and keep you up and running in business.
And Gamal.
Yeah, right. The risk is real, so you need to manage and mitigate those risks, and you need to be creating and finding partners like preventative measures, like BIG, who have the mechanisms, the resources in place to make the process a little easier, less painful. We can't guarantee that you won't be impacted or you won't be a victim, but certainly if you have already made those connections, it's an easier transition or it's an easier response as opposed to now panicking and trying to find, hey, who does this? How can we get it right? No, we've already put in the policies. We talked about security awareness, cybersecurity awareness training, and now we're talking about, hey, if you get hit, if there's an incident, we're able to provide some sort of response mechanism. So now is the time. Now is the acceptable day, as they would say.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right.
Thank you so much, William Callahan. Thank you so much from Blockchain Intelligence Group. It's been a pleasure. Thank you for the great information. And Gamal Nuri, stick around. We're going to talk with you in just a bit. Can be back with more Morning Blend Business here on Guardian Radio 96.9.
Small Business Development Center is here to help small businesses throughout the entire Bahamas. To better serve you, we've made it easier to contact us. Call 461-7232, WhatsApp 359-0626 or 359-2394, email helpdesk@spdcbahamas.com, or submit a ticket when you visit our help center at accessaccelerator.org. The Access Accelerator, empowering small business.
This is Guardian Radio 96.9 FM, Nassau, Bahamas.
And we are back, wrapping things up with Morning Blend Business on Guardian Radio 96.9, reminding you that time is almost up. Foot Care RX is closing this Monday, October 31st. Your chance to invest in the company, meet them tomorrow between 10 to 2 p.m. at their newest location on Dean's Lane at the top of Fort Charlotte. Come invest and become an owner today. For more information, contact 603-5270 or go to arawakx.com. All right, we are back here, Dwight Strachan, along with Stephen Hanna, along with Gamal Nuri with Preventative Measures. Sir, I want to thank you very much. It's been a month, a very interesting month. Every Friday you've been here during Cybersecurity Awareness Month, and we've learned a lot during this time. I want to thank you and Preventative Measures for this wonderful series. It's been great.
Dwight, it's been my pleasure, and I'm happy to be here and share ways and where persons can work and be safe. It's more than just the physical security aspect now. We're transitioning. We've already transitioned so much into digital, so much into cyber. We see with the upcoming events, it's speaking about wallets and digital currency. So you're online. You are online. You are in the virtual world. You are then exposed. So how do you protect yourself? How do you protect your money that you're putting into these different wallets, so to speak, these different cash transaction areas, and you want to make sure you're safe. And what do you do? Business and individuals.
And there's no running from it.
You can't, right?
Exactly. Get on board.
You see, the central bank has already, already taken that bold step. I think about 2 years ago, we were one of the first countries in the world. So the Bahamas is there. We are there. But how do you move? How do you protect yourself in this new environment? And that's critical.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Again, thank you for this wonderful series, and a happy Cybersecurity Awareness Month, Cyber Awareness Month to you. And we'll talk again next month.
Definitely.
You're busy next week, Friday.
The first Friday.
So the week after, we'll pick up our once a month series with you. And again, let people know how they can reach you with Preventative Measures.
So you can reach me at Preventative Measures. I'm on LinkedIn at Gamal Nuri, GamalNewry, and that's on both LinkedIn and Facebook. And then Preventative Measures, we're on all of the platforms. We're on Instagram, LinkedIn, Facebook. We're on Twitter as well. You can reach out to us and certainly find out about how we can assist you as an individual or your company in being safer and more resilient.
All right. Thank you very much. Have a great weekend. We'll see you in a couple weeks. Stephen Hanna, thank you very much, sir. Going shopping this morning? Going to the supermarket? No, don't say anything. You're
sure. I want to tell you about chicken. Actually.
Oh my goodness.
We'll talk about
it off air. Yeah. Everybody have a wonderful, safe weekend. I'll be back on Monday with more Morning Blend and Morning Blend Business right here on Guardian Radio 96.9. Dwight Strachan, have a great one. Stay tuned for On the Clock with Aaron Green coming up next.